Okay, now, as you can see, there's a special collab going on right now. And well, let's just say I did do a few pulls and got all of them, but they're not up type 4 yet. But it's good enough for now, because I plan to uptie them with the thread we get from here. Other than that, I have not played Arknights, so I'm gonna be pretty much not getting any of this. So yeah. Okay. Let's let's get into this. Rebellion de las Masas. Pilgrimage of Compassion. Goes for a month. Okay. Oh, we're gonna be playing on hard? Whoa, okay. The Unknown Sea. Right. Just so you know, I did equip them. Might as well show them. Well, I guess you could also see the event bonus. Okay, let me... I mean, this will work fine. Okay.
보는 눈은 있네요.
Oh, hey, support.
여기서 저만큼 유능한 인재는 흔치 않죠.
Nothing to be scared of. This is gonna be easy. I was exploring a lobotomy corporation branch when my consciousness sinks into the depths. The sense of cognition, itself a concept without form, floats into the shadow of an ever-widening river, swept up in its currents to nowhere. We ran into an abnormality, but Sal told us that Hangyuan's lobotomy corp branch should be free of any abnormalities. The abnormality, which had appeared out of nowhere, was more otherworldly than any we'd encountered so far in our journey, and deep blue. It was fathomlessly blue, and seemed to have a pool that endlessly drew us into itself. Just as I was about to recall this abnormality, a myriad of sceneries and a flood of incalculable thoughts crashed into my mind like wild waves before ebbing away from its shores. I was already lost and adrift somewhere within my own consciousness when I realized this. Just how long am I going to be adrift? The sensation of my own consciousness floating away is quite the unfamiliar one. I floated about in that strange state for a while. Te? An unfamiliar voice seizes my aimlessly drifting consciousness. Are you Dante? The fog of my vision clears as the voice breaks through the waves, and a concerned expression comes into view. Yes, I am. Ah, what a relief. Gregor, I think Dante has come too. So who are... I was about to ask further questions to this stranger with particularly long, animal-like ears, but... Ugh. I felt the drowsiness coursing back the terrifying memories of the dream, rendering me unable to speak. I have to get a hold of myself. After an indeterminate amount of time has passed, I barely managed to wake myself up from a slumber to grasp my surroundings, only to find myself surrounded by more unfamiliarities. Dude. It was that stranger from earlier, sitting atop a rock, silently taking in the sights. A young girl who probably saved my life. Wait, so were those animal ears after all? Okay, that's not important right now. I have to prioritize figuring out where in the world I ended up in. So we're standing by the Iberian coastline. How are you feeling? A little out of it, but I'm okay otherwise. Iberia, huh? Yes, we're in Iberia. Well, given that we're next to an ocean, maybe I drifted all the way to Eucor's Great Lake? Iberia was an unfamiliar name, but that was all I had to go on, given that the city was still full of more unknowns than knowns to me. I radioed your colleagues when you briefly woke up earlier. They'll be here any minute. I see. Wait, my colleagues? You must have run to the sinners then. The fog of my mind immediately cleared up as soon as I realized the sinners were all nowhere to be seen. Sinners? I think so. I ran into them earlier. Also, she can understand us. We're a fucking clock, by the way. Oh my god. Why can she understand us? They were looking all over the place for someone with a clock for their head. It was a pretty unique description, so I could tell right away you were the person they were looking for. So this clock head does come in handy. Manager bud. Dante! I'd woken up in an unfamiliar place to an unfamiliar face. In the midst of all this displacement, the faces that appeared before me were certainly a sight for sore eyes. Gregor, Honglu, Miss Rabbit Ear told me she found you unconscious by the ocean, and I came as fast as I could, and oh boy, I was worried that something bad had happened. Glad to see you're doing fine. Well, you lost at sea. I don't know. Well, I do think I'm fine though. I guess I'm not having any way to drink. I guess not having any way to drink water is finally come in handy. You should go get that checked out just in case. Wait, your head's waterproof, right? Gregor takes a moment to steady his breathing, and then mutters a casual quip as he lights a cigarette. Whoa, he doesn't seem that concerned. We're not actually in that much danger. So, what happened? Where are we? Do you remember entering that lobotomy court branch Shi-chun told us about? Yeah. Yeah, we ran into a new abnormality, and got sucked into it before we even had the chance to do anything. Man, I really thought that was it for us. Especially with you getting sucked in there too, Manager Bud. When we came to, despite waking up with our faces down in some ditch, we were all fine without a scratch. Though there was quite the mess when we realized that you'd gone missing. We wanted to search for you immediately, but it took a while before we got better bearings of where we were. So we're not at U-Corp's Great Lake. Some of us considered that to be a distinct possibility. It's unlikely Ishmael was really certain we were not in District 21. She did concede that we might be in an unknown area within the Great Lake of the outskirts, but that doesn't seem likely either, given what the rabbit-eared lady said. The outskirts region of the Great Lake. I've met all kinds of people from all over Terra, but I've never met anyone who referred to the Iberian Sea that way. Terra? Iberia? As I find myself puzzled by these unfamiliar terms, a very obvious question suddenly struck me. Speaking of which, who are you? Huh? Really? You fellas haven't introduced yourself to each other yet? It's just that it's all a lot to take in. It's understandable. You did just wake up from a pretty harrowing experience. She is, actually, would you like to do the honors yourself? I'm, Amiya? The leader of Rhode Island. Please call me Amiya. I don't know how to say this name. I've not played Arknights. I'm Dante, manager at Limbus Company. I know I'm late, but thanks for saving my bacon. Seems that this Rodeo Island is a pretty big corporation, but Rodeo Island. Rigger trails off ominously and scratches his head before continuing with some mild trepidation. This young lady with the rabbit ears doesn't know what the head is at all. As far as I know, there aren't any organizations in Terra with the same characteristics as the one Mr. Gregor explained. At least, not with a name like the Head. So sorry, it's Rhode Island, not Rodeo. Sorry, Gregor's kind of bad with names. So, what you're saying is that we're not in the city anymore? Be weird for any higher up at these huge corporations to know less about the Head than we do, let alone be completely clueless about it. Well, maybe we've tumbled into a previously undiscovered zone of the outskirts or the ruins, probably. Or maybe we found ourselves in a completely different world. their conjecture is correct. We're in way bigger trouble than I thought. This wasn't like the time we accidentally stranded ourselves in the outskirts via the door in the corridor. Amiya stared at me with some concern as though she felt my distress. I think I can draw a connection to something that's happening here. Really? Yes, recently, anomalous signs and events have been occurring in Iberia ever since a mysterious dimensional door appeared at sea. And it's been said that this door is connected to something very, very distant, to something we've never observed before, so... Seems reasonable to theorize that the dimensional door is how we've managed to cross over to this world. I really would have appreciated Faust's input, but... Where'd all the other sinners go? Where'd all the other sinners go anyway? Bit late on the uptake, but to be gawking around for the other sinners now, don't you think? They're at a settlement near here, where they're all helping out with various odds and ends of the village, while taking various turns searching for Dante, of course. You know, I never thought too much about how difficult it would be to search for someone when we're like fish out of water, too, but man, we barely even got a wink of sleep since yesterday. Everyone's gotta be really tired then, so it's just you two out here for now? No, Ishmael and Yisang are the other half of the search party, and we just happen to be the last group in the rotation. They must be searching elsewhere to find you, Manager Bud. We got the news early thanks to Amiya's comms gear, but the other team didn't. Yeah, we got lucky. The other team, oh well, we don't have any way to get in touch with them, so they'll probably continue their search until their shift is done. Oh, are we talking about that village you mentioned earlier? Uh-huh. Right, you've not been there yet, huh? I guess it's a bit off the beaten path. Well, we're going to have to rendezvous with the other sinners anyway, so let's head to the village for now. Something seemed to pique Amiya's interest, as she fell into contemplative silence before carefully speaking up. I would like to accompany you there. Sure, I don't see why not. You've helped us find Manager Bud, and more importantly, you seem to know a lot more about this place than we do. I don't actually know Iberia that well either, but I should be able to be of some help. They closed their borders and have practically locked out any foreign influences from affecting them, but I did get a briefing before the mission. Closed borders, huh? And how did you get in, Miss Amiya? We followed Dr. Kaltz's orders and illegally crossed the country border. Illegally? Oh, does that mean you crossed the border without obtaining any permission, Amiya? We had to cross the border somehow, in order to investigate how and why the dimensional door came to be. Huh. Is it normal for pharmaceutical companies to be doing that? Large pharmaceutical companies often dispatch their agents for missions. Yes. Rhode Island is, in its essence, a pharmaceutical company researching treatments for people inflicted with oropathy, but we also work to prevent and assist in the management of various situations that occur in high-risk areas. High-risk areas, huh? Huh. What about your companions? I doubt you came all the way here on your own. We were forced to split up due to certain forces that were in pursuit. Wait, stop! Amiya's ears twitched as she came to a stop and began scanning the surrounding area. Then, there! We stood about confused. Amiya, noticing something, pointed towards the seashore. What are we supposed to... Huh? There, we saw someone wielding a lengthy greatsword, bickering with two familiar faces. Again, move. You're in the way. You needed to worry as you do. We have had ample experience battling monsters who are much like them. Listen, I'm not worried, it's... Come on, we're gonna have 3 fighters in one, right? Besides, you're the first person we ran into here, so we've got a lot of questions to ask. Yisang, Ishmael, Dante, you are unharmed. And here I was, getting ready for a 3-day-long search. What a relief. We were all really worried and we might never be able to find you. We managed to find them thanks to help from Miss Amiya here. Amiya? Are you two acquainted? Not a good time for a reunion. It can wait until after we take out the sea monsters. Scotty, are those organisms the Seaborns Dr. Calcit mentioned? Calstit? Calstit? They're sea terrorists to be specific. The less sophisticated ones among them. And they're probably here for me. Sea terrorists? I heard the sticky noise of something viscous slithering against the rocks. When I turned to face the origin of the unsettling noise, I smelled a heavy, wet scent of brine. At the end of my gaze awaits strange monsters, unlike distortions, unlike abnormalities, unlike anything I've ever seen. It is as though the sea itself is encroaching on the land. I was almost certain we were at the Great Lake, but I'm not so sure anymore. Her experience with the thick scent of brine at the Great Lake must have put her in a wary mood. As Ishmael seemed to be a lot more apprehensive about these monsters than anyone else. Do you think these creatures could be whales or mermaids? I don't know. The Great Lake and the outskirts are full of unexplored mysteries after all. Dante, what do your senses say? It's unclear. I'd say the closest comparison I could make is with the whales, but even that's not conclusive. More enemies on the horizon. We should prepare for battle. Doesn't seem like we can talk things out with them though. So, let's take them out. Okay. Also, yeah. I did front the money. Deep Sea Slider, Sea Terror. Okay. Abyssal Horror. Nether Sea Brand Utopia. I mean, it's not gonna matter. They're gonna die quick, like this. I wanna try this out. I'm doing it. Okay, I just wanna try it out. Okay, it doesn't matter if it's okay, there you go. Let's see this ego. To remain oneself.
흐릿한 등화, 곱게 접은 종이에 번졌으니 식구의 한 획.
Here comes the dragon.
빈 벼로에 남았구나.
Oh, right. It just kills that easily. Whoa, that's sick. What the fuck? I assume that's from Arknights. All remaining enemies have retreated to the sea. Good work, everyone. I didn't think I'd have to deal anything remotely like this outside the Great Lake. You can say that again. It would have taken us the whole day if that Scotty character didn't occupy the other half while Miss Rabbit helped us from a distance. As we were catching our breath after the battle. I heard a brief hum. When I turned to look at its source, I saw Scotty glaring at me with palpable alarm. Strange people who transform. In the head of clock? I guess they're both technically true. Well, it's nothing more than a theory at this point. I think they have a lot to do with the dimensional door we're supposed to be investigating. Nice to meet you, I guess? I only hear a ticking clock. Ooh, that's because only us sinners can hear Dante's voice. Huh? What's up? No, I'm just wondering how Miss Amiya can seemingly understand Dante. Yeah, what's going on here? Yeah, it completely flew over my head. I didn't even question how weird this is. The voice sounds like a ticking clock to me too, but I don't know. It's almost like I can sense what they're trying to say. What kind of emotion they're trying to convey. Her explanation reminded me of the Blue Boy in Sinclair's past, but I didn't quite feel the uncanny sensation from Amiya that I felt from them. So, she can kind of read me, like how Virgilius can, I guess? Well, I don't think it's a bad thing. That's true. It's been a bit of a hassle to always need Faust or Hong Lu to translate for you, Dante. I'd like to know exactly how she can understand Dante, but I don't think we've got the luxury of time to sit down and figure this out. So, are we heading back? Sounds like a plan. It's not like we know anywhere else to go, right? Oh, and Miss Rabbit here will be tagging along too. She said she'd help us on our... She said she'd help us find our way back. I'm glad to be working with you two also, Miss Ishmael, Mr. Honglu. Took the words right out of my mouth. You've already helped us plenty, and you clearly know a lot more about this place than we do. The journey is long. Perhaps embarking on it ere the sun's fall would be wise. How long's the journey? No idea. It's not like we have a clock with us. I do, that's not very... you have a clock with you. I don't know what to say. It's just not the one that would work with time. No idea. It's not like we have a clock with us. I do know it's not very far though. We just need to walk alongside the coastline a bit. Well, Dante can't tell us the time because they're not on time. Then why the clock head? I didn't exactly choose to get myself a clock-shaped head. I looked away from Scotty's inquisitive eyes, which were quite solidly fixed on my head. The coasts of Iberia are hardly good places for people to live. Most things can go anywhere in this world, but they thrive at places that meet the ocean. So, how do people manage to build a village at a place like this? The monsters are called seaborns, or sea terrors, yes. While it is true they pose certain difficulties, they were hardly the kind of monsters with the strength to bring scourge and drive out the local populace. Don't judge them based on that brief skirmish. She's just telling us to be on our guard, right? Scotty can be a bit curt, but she's not a bad person. I don't think she said anything wrong. Nothing rules out the existence of stronger variants of these creatures being out there. Scotty's concern only served to fan my curiosity, but something about her expression communicated that I probably shouldn't pry, so I quietly quickened my pace as we walked to the village. This hardly looks like a village. It's more like the ruins of one, isn't it? It doesn't seem they've done any proper upkeep to the place. Not in a while, at least. They're really here, living together. The strange buildings tell the stories of former prosperity from a bygone era. Our steps leave no footprints on the wet, muddy ground. On it, I see a rotting sign marked with the name Faro Muerto. I don't know. Everywhere I look in this village, I see evidence of a long, silent abandonment. We don't see these kind of abandoned-looking ruins in the city either. Well, yeah, there's always someone or something out there waiting to capitalize on that free real estate, be it a syndicate or a corporation, and fix it up. Better than this, at least. So, where are the sinners? There's a clearing down there where we're entrapped betwixt a twain of great ships, narrowing winds against our sails. Ooh. And that is when young Ishmael boomed, her command most resonant. Say no more. I didn't even have to try to search for them, that unmistakably sonorous and familiar voice echoing triumphantly between the empty buildings. That's Don Quixote's voice when she's sharing her adventurous tales. There she was, standing atop a low podium like an actor on stage, regaling a group of people in rags with tales of our adventures like a traveling thespian. Answers, ye dogs, warriors-men! 'Tis the moment I, Ishmael, the first mate of the vessel Mephistopheles, shall Stop, hold on, just what do you think you're doing? Young Ishmael, unhand my mouth, for I was just about to regale them with the most fantastic tale of our adventures at the Great Lake. Manager Esquire! Verily, thou hast returned with Manager Esquire safely in tow. They found a clockhead. A burning clock for a head. When I was a child, I heard a story about a legendary sarcasm with a flaming head. How would someone like that visit our humble village? While their exterior may carry elements that inspire fear in some, there is no cause for alarm. Yeah, they might look like that, but they're Dante, our manager, and the rest are... Oh, hello. I'm sorry, who are you two? You're two very nice people who helped us find Dante. This is Miss Amia, leader of Rhode Island. And this is Miss Scotty, their operator. They'll be coming along with us for a little while. With us? We believe that the dimensional door, which we at Rhode Island are investigating, has something to do with why you suddenly woke up here in Iberia. as Amiya was bringing the sinners up to speed. Ah, the villagers, who were staring at us curiously, approached us. Yet our conversation managed to convince them we were not a threat. I sure hope so. You're friends of our saviors. Saviors? Verily. Verily. I don't know why I said it like that. Verily. It is quite the grand title, yet that is indeed the word by which we are addressed. To be more precise, by saviors, they are referring only to Faust and Otis. Faust gave me a light nod when we made eye contact, but I could tell her lips were drawing a very, very subtle smiling arc. So I'm guessing something did happen. They are quite mistrustful upon our initial arrival. What business do outsiders have here? What if they're from the Inquisition? Oh no, what do we do? After we went through all the trouble to get here. Calm yourselves, everyone. None of them are carrying what appears to be their scriptures, or lamps. Let's first try to see who they are. Man, I don't think they're gonna trust us anytime soon. They're a code curmudgeons. Let's just TNC, then PTSD. You can't do that, Ryoshi. We can't pillage their storage depots. It's like they already have it hard enough as it is. I don't think STNC is a good way to get started either. Slice their neck clean. Should we find help elsewhere? Just look at how thin their arms are. I don't think they're in any shape to help us out. Perhaps we could inquire as to our whereabouts there, where we are to decide our lodging. While the landscape is certainly reminiscent of U Corps, but I don't recall seeing or learning about any place that looks like this, though I can't say I've been to every corner of U Corp. I ask again, what business do outsiders have here? Their fingers are tightening around the grips of their weapons. Prolonged silence will most likely turn this into a hostile encounter. We can't have that. Hi, we're from Limbus Company. We're Fixers of Justice. Yeah, that. Fixers of Oi, don't you know when to keep it down? Fixers? That over there, it's a ship blueprint, isn't it? Are you looking to repair a vessel by any chance? All these construction materials seem to suggest so. Chief, this does not concern you. We're not something a mere outsider can understand. Curious, I've never seen an energy source like this before. Have you run tests to rule out any stability issues? It seems to power the heat exchanger via some method comparable to the utilization of fusion energy. Have you any thoughts on this, Miss Faust? The general structure is somewhat old-fashioned, but there certainly are inspired parts of this design, particularly with the usage of the core energy source. While stability would need to be further studied, this technology seems to be incredibly energy efficient. Huh? You identified all that merely by glancing at this blueprint? You must be the village chief then. If so, I have a proposition for you. In return for assisting in their ship repair, we are promised a ride on their vessel. Miss Faust has theorized that perhaps by going out to sea, we may be able to find a way to return whence we came. Does that mean we can find a way back somewhere out there in the sea? Nothing is certain yet, Dante. At this moment, we're working based on a hunch. A hunch? Sensing the implicit omen in her choice of words, I slowly turned around to look at Faust, who nodded solemnly in response. If we're really in a different world, even her Gesellschaft might be. No issues were encountered in the repair process. Faust smiles faintly as she looks around and then pulls me by my hems. She whispers in a low voice, "My connection to the Gesellschaft is currently operating at a suboptimal level, Dante." So it's still connected, at least? Indeed, it is. However, even exchanges of simple information are taking up to dozens of hours by current calculation. Is this a warp train situation? Because we're in a different dimension? The cause should be identical. We have been connected to an unidentified, unpredictable dimension. However, Faust is aware that the pathway to our original dimension is yet to close this time, unlike the situation back aboard the warp train. So to get back to where we came from, indeed, traveling through the pathway is the most feasible solution. From that, you came up with the whole plan to repair the ship and sail out to the sea? Yes, well, I am a genius after all. Amiya conjectured that we probably came through a dimensional door of sorts. Looks like that dimensional door might be what Faust is looking for. With high likelihood, yes. At least there's a way back. I find myself calming down a little. Oh, speaking of which, when do you think you can wrap up the repair job? As fortune should have it, a majority of the time-consuming parts of the repair have already been completed by the locals. It shouldn't take us much longer than a day or two to get its core parts shipshape again. Executive Manager. We'll be staying for a few more days then. How did you manage the last night? Well, like I said earlier, we've been keeping ourselves busy while looking for you this whole time. We took turns with the repairs and resting, but I doubt any of us got a proper night's rest. Still, we weren't cold, thanks to the villagers who kept the fire going for us all night. Not to mention how they helped us a ton with that local map they drew us. Oh, Chief also handed this to us earlier. What's it for? Looks like it's a sack to collect water. Give it here. I know how to get that installed. It must be to repay Miss Faust and Miss Otis' effort in repairing their ship. Yet the service they provide us is certainly quite generous, even when taking the transactional nature into account. They're really giving us the best treatment they can, huh? As for food, we managed to fill ourselves with some cookies and bread Raja keeps in her pockets, but didn't want to eat their food supply when they're pretty tight, you know? She carries enough cookies and bread for 12 people? They did offer us some nosh, those fish things, but we refused. I ain't taking food from the needy. No need to concern yourself so much with our hospitality. You have done much more to earn your keep. I turned and looked at the source of that low rumbling voice. Saw an old man in their outfit that seemed to distinguish itself. There you are, Chief. Is there a place to let us stay tonight? We do have places to shelter from the misty humidity, at the very least. There is an empty building there, so feel free to occupy it for the night. Ooh, are you sure? I mean, I don't mind sleeping in the streets myself. Hey, speak for yourself. I've been looking forward to sleeping with a roof over my head since, like, yesterday. You'll catch cold sleeping in the elements in this environment, which is fine by me for the rest of you, but we cannot afford to have the executive manager or honored guest suffer that fate. Honored guest? I heard what happened from the four who left in search of the executive manager. First, I would like to begin by imparting my infinite gratitude to you for finding and rescuing the executive manager. I hear that you are the leader at a pharmaceutical company. This acquaintance has certainly come in handy, in case their stay becomes significantly prolonged. I'm just surprised by her boldness to say something so materialistic when they're standing right there. Can I stay in your village too, Chief? The village chief took a brief glance at the hymns, and then nodded. Welcome to the Faro Muerto. You're welcome to stay for as long as you want. And please, do let me know if you find yourselves without food. Our food supply may be tight indeed, but we have enough to share with those who helped repair the vessel. Ooh, you better not go back on your word later. I wonder what kind of local delicacies await. Dried fish like they were eating earlier, maybe? Hey, Chief. What is it? Is how are you surviving out here? By the sea? Perhaps the question of how we are surviving may be somewhat misdirected. For we are only pursuing every possible avenue because we must survive. Chief responded to Scotty's perceived hostility with a hearty smile. After leaving firewood, he left. I'm going. Can't learn much more from here. Huh? You're going somewhere at this hour? Scotty, does this have something to do with the coast? I remember you said before we got to the village something about how coasts are hardly good places to live in. Dante wants to know if this has something to do with the coast. Do you understand the Aegir language? Aegir language? No. Dante, Scotty just spoke in Aegirian. I couldn't understand a word of Scotty in this chief's conversation because I don't speak Aegirian. It may be that there were enough lexical similarity between one of the city's languages and the language Scotty spoke in for them to comprehend the meaning. Weird coincidence. Anyway, I have something to look into. Something you're all too slow to see. You'll still have to tell us about it later. Please remember you're not on a solo mission, Scotty. This is a team effort from Rhode Island. Will do. Scotty nodded lightly before leaping off into the night out of our sights. Kinda worried. She's not the best with people, but she's also pretty thoughtful. She'll be okay. Should we head inside? The sun's starting to set already. Oh yeah, we probably just pick an unlit building and stay the night there, right? Trying our best to ignore the mood that was starting to turn awkward, we made our way into a nearby unoccupied building. We walked past a few narrow buildings, and remnants of narrow buildings before we came across a hall large enough to house all 15 or so of us. Okay, now we're ready. With the curtains on the window removed, the smoke has an exit. Whoa, I thought we were doomed to shudder ourselves to sleep with the soaking wet firewood and all. I had no idea that'd work. We just have to get a small fire going underneath it until the wood dries up and catches fire. The downside being all the smoke. It's clear that she has some field experience, unlike some fools I know. I shan't sit here and let her carry the burden of labor alone. Bequeath upon me thine ingredients, young Rhodian, for I shall conjure thee a pot of special fixer soup. You're making soup with cookies and jelly? No, no, no! You're not getting anywhere near the kitchen again, not after what you cooked up last time. Well, I must admit to a certain level of interest. As many of our fellows Viscera are off-racked with the intense agony of ingesting dishes of your making, perhaps it would be wiser to save the occasion for a safer environment. Right, don't you remember? We agreed to leave the cooking to Mur or Ulti if we ever are in a situation like this, remember? Did we? See, it's become sort of an unspoken rule after everything that happened. Remember, back during last year's cooking contest at K-Corp, they were the only two people who managed to get remotely positive reviews. Ooh, does that mean we'll get to try out Otis's cooking once again? Denied. We still have plenty of high-calorie foods like cookies and jellies here. I find no reason to do something so inefficient. I'm glad to see that everyone's still energetic given the circumstances. It can't be easy to suddenly wake up in an unfamiliar environment. Well, we're all quite used to getting thrown into unfamiliar places. Speaking of which, did you manage to reach your colleagues, Amiya? She shook her head, concerned. They might have lost their comm devices, or maybe they ran into some other trouble. Could they be in danger? I don't know, but I'm sure they're okay. The doctor, Kaltz, I can't say that name for the life of me. They're both more than capable enough to look after themselves. Long have this curiosity lingered within me. This allowed me to inquire. Corporations are, by their nature, organizations in pursuit of profit. Yet, the activities of your corporation resemble those of charity organizations, as opposed to a pharmaceutical company. Is there aught that might explicate this blurred distinction? Aha, I wanted to know too. How come a pharmaceutical company like Rhode Island is helping people? Something about what Hong Lu said brings back unpleasant memories. The horrible experience seen through the cascade of flowing tears in the face of suffering. The embodiment of greed that left a terrible wound in Hong Lu's fathoms. The pharmaceutical companies I've seen on my journey were companies that, despite possessing the capacity to heal, chose to obsess over the profit it can provide. There are many in Terra who are suffering from a disease. The disease crystallizes you, spreads deeper and deeper into the infected internal organs, eventually culminating in their death. It's called oripathy. Amiya showed me the back of her right hand, dotted by what appeared to be obsidian crystallizations. Its appearance reminded me of biotreatments from the back streets, but there's something more to it. Something more restless, more sinister. It's a terrible, painful disease, but there haven't been any recorded cases of full recovery. But there's an even worse problem. Pray tell, what could possibly be worse than an incurable deadly disease? Well, it varies region by region. Discrimination against the infected is widespread across Terra. Those who suffer from it must face unfair treatment. Yisang began with a dark expression. Some are quarantined in places with terrible, inhumane conditions. There have been massacres too. I don't mean to be callous, but is this oripathy highly contagious? No, there have not been any recorded cases of infection by contact, as long as the subjects are alive. But when the infected dies, the crystal growths on their body decay and turn into dust, scattering, which is what spreads the plague. Then, barring environments like active battlefields, where casualties are to be expected, staying within close proximity of the infected in daily life seems to pose hardly any risk. So, what's the problem then? They're already past the point of caring about what the problem is. Once people start feeling iffy, all logic goes out the window. Then Rhode Island's goal has to be Yes, it's important to develop a cure for erypathy, but I think what really matters is we change the circumstances for the better for the infected. That's not going to be an easy endeavor, though. That is what gives your effort more meaning. So I hope you can achieve that goal, Mia. I really do. For truth! The city. This world. We both live in worlds full of surprises, don't we? What kind of world did you come from? This city. What kind of place is the city, anyway? The kind of place with too many pointless rules. The kind of place where the moment you think, isn't this too much? You see something even worse. Try as I might, I couldn't think of a single positive thing about the city. The sinners seem to be in agreement. Most of what came after was quite scathing. The kind of place where good deeds rarely ever go unpunished. Where sympathy is a good attitude to have if you like getting stabbed in the back. Nothing good ever works out there. It's a shithole. It's an irrational place, full of absurdities. Absurdity is an omnipresence. Therefore, it is not a subject by which one should be aggrieved. We can at least grouse about them, though, I mean, it's the only thing we can do. It would be more correct to experience more and acclimatize yourself to it instead of complaining. You did say something like that last time. Says the mood was starting to turn sour. Don Quixote's shout shattered through the awkwardness. Verily, nary a day goeth by untarnished by villains and their full deeds. Yet worry thee not, for where evil riseth, so doth pictures of justice too. Don Quixote jumped from her seat, which was followed by a heavy crack. Don Quixote, watch out! Whoa! From behind the wall, an unfamiliar visage of a villager appeared. How farest thou? Where is thy foot? You're gonna apologize first. Last seemed a tad too hyper today. Apologies, I hardly expected the wall to crumble with such ease. Art thou unhurt? Any injuries? To pray tell to what? Forget the apology, I just want to know what happens next. Pictures of justice? Rolls up to? Do what? Ooh, hast thou come to fear the tale of... What? Hast thou come to me to hear the tale of fixers? I don't know about coming to us, given how Miss Don Quixote was the one who pushed the wall down. Oh, it's too late an hour. I don't mind waiting till morning if you want to sleep. Nay, not at all. 'Tis quite early, an hour for tales, in fact. Prithee, seat thyself here. You ungovernable fool, calm down. We don't even know who she is. And don't you forget to share those picture tales over there in the corner to not disturb our sleep. That'll make us a quest most untenable. These tales deserve to be announced to the world with great gusto from the center. Yeah, that's the best way to hear these kinds of stories. But we should probably introduce ourselves to each other first. Name's Mayers. How should I put this? Did you meet the village chief earlier during the day? He's my Gramps. Oh, that nice guy? So he had a granddaughter. Yet, I have not seen you once, Miss Mayers, under the sun. Oh my, you're right. I thought the village was completely dried up of any young blood. Like Raja said, while we didn't see Mayers out there wasn't anyone else in the village we could comfortably call young. You're telling me Gramps was worrying over nothing and told me to stay put inside? Going on about the dangers that the outsiders pose and everything. Seems they do not give full faith to their saviors. There are things you cannot share with whom you trust your life. Though, I would like to know why. My, so there are a bunch of other kids who are stuck indoors in this village? No, there isn't anyone in around my age in the village at all. If that's the case, I guess I can understand why he'd be overprotective. Anyways, it's our turn. I'm good. I had heard enough to get an idea. You did? Oh, pray, how didst thou hear us? Via a listening device, most secret upon our chamber? Meteor tapped the side of the wall. Part of it was still standing anyways, and smiled ironically. Bad soundproofing. I could practically hear pretty much everything. Don Quixote, right? Everything Don Quixote practically sang during the day. Verily, I see. I think you could really do with some sense of embarrassment for once. Well, guess that's good enough for self-introduction, so... Care to regale me with the tale of fixers who bring justice to the evils of the city? Indubitably. Then, aha, this shall do. I shall regale thee with the tale in which the legendary fixer, the Magnificent herself, the Red Mist, hath. I suppose that killed any hope for a good night's kip. But don't you usually pass out within a minute of your back hitting the hay, no matter how noisy things are? What? Do you take me for some kind of hibernating bear or something? Look, even I have trouble sleeping when there's noise all over. I say bear in hibernation is pretty apt descriptor. For all that grumbling and moaning, he dozed off before any of us did. Aside from Heathcliff, who began snoring the moment his head touched the ground, some other sinners were fast asleep as well. Mersault had entered his sleep and his usual steadfast adherence to the routine, while Faust laid claim to one of the few available cloth sheets as soon as the close of business for the day was confirmed. Sinners, who had spent the entire last night searching for me, slowly began to fall asleep. Meanwhile, the Fixer of this Way Association's first section. Though the night was no longer young, Don Quixote so vigorously shared tales of adventures without a single sign of fatigue. It's that blood fiend, bro. She's not determined to do this until sunrise, is she? Ooh, I guess it's okay since Mary seems to be having fun. As I continued to watch the pair with some mild concern, Amiya, not yet asleep, approached me. This city Don Quixote speaks of seems to be teeming with fixtures of justice and exhilarating tales of adventures. Did you actually experience all of them yourselves? No, of course not. Don Quixote's stories are usually from those of other famous people. But she's telling it with such vigor that it almost sounds like she was there herself. Well, I guess if you really want to get into it, some of them might be retellings of Don Quixote's personal experiences. Ishmael replied uncertainly, thinking back to the plays we were made to watch in La Mancha Land. Well, I think all of those stories, even though they're only partially true, just go show what a ridiculous place it can be. We wouldn't need fixtures of justice to begin with, if we really lived in a just world, right? A really good place to live in would be quiet and peaceful without someone having to force it. That's true. I hope there will be a day when Rhode Island can be a normal pharmaceutical company in the future. Something's wrong? No, I just thought Miss Mayers and I made eye contact. Did she overhear our conversation? I looked to her direction as well, but all I saw was Mayers excitedly reacting to Don Quixote's tales. Whoa, what happened then? Thus spake Lady Otis, boldly before the soldiers who stood in our path. Thou presumest to stand in our path, servants of a master most unworthy. I, Otis, shall educate ye on how manner maketh. Don Quixote was retelling stories of Limbic Company's adventures and hung you on. Otis, who could no longer stand Don Quixote's unintentional alterations to the story, jumped to her feet and shouted, Damn it, what kind of nonsense are you feeding her? I never said anything like that. Verily, certain aspects of this retelling may have been exaggerated. That's tales of adventures for you. Things are bound to get a bit dry when the story is told too realistically and as is, right? You know, nothing. Not even anything resembling a proper record or a book remained once the profound silence swept through this village. So I've always had a craving for these kind of stories. But Iberia doesn't stop Iberians from immigrating, contrary to their tight immigration control. Have you ever thought about leaving this place? It's still a challenge to cross the border, especially since we're going to have to pass through larger cities that are managed by the Inquisition. You don't seem particularly fond of this Inquisition. Why is that? It's because this village was formed by people who grew tired of living under the Inquisition's rule and fled. Sorry, but what kind of organization is this Inquisition? Sinclair asked, face turning cold upon hearing the word Inquisition, and the people fled from it. Yeah, the nail and hammer we saw back at Cowl were kind of memories that are easily forgotten. According to Dr. Calst, the Inquisition is what filled the power vacuum once Iberia fell into chaos. That its inquisitors are rapier and lamp-wielding protectors of Iberia's cities from lawlessness. That alone doesn't kind of makes them sound like good people, though. Yeah, they are, but there's the Church of the Deep. The Inquisition will go whatever lengths to deal with incidents related to that church to the church that worships Seaborns. Fee, an organization who worships monsters? It seems that cultish fanaticism is a plague wherever we go. feel like people with all kinds of wrong faiths and beliefs are so common. See, the Seaborns are the ones that mess Iberia up, so following their logic, apparently it's okay for them to arrest anyone who seems even remotely connected to them. We're saying that Iberia is like this because of the Seaborns? Those things familiar. I guess they were kind of troublesome to deal with, but they didn't seem that strong. Anyways, it's just what I heard from Gramps, but the Inquisition executed many innocent people too in their crusade against the Church of the Deep. For those who proclaim to be on the side of justice, they seem quite fond of committing such villainy. Seems like a reasonable policy decision to me, but it must pose a clear danger to the daily lives of civilians. Yeah, I heard I was the only survivor. Everyone in my family died. We must have had to endure such a long period of pain. To be able to say something like that with such composure. For Iberia, there are heroes who will bring the land back to its glory days, but the Gramps, they were just oppressors, making his life difficult. That's why we all have come here, fleeing from the Inquisition's gaze. Yet, wherefore hast thou decided to settle at a place that is so, run down? Indeed. Yeah, I know. It's not like it's so bad once you get used to it. Besides, we managed to find a new path thanks to you guys. A new path? Well, it's getting late. Will you be repairing this ship tomorrow too? This place really has no soundproofing at all, huh? Good talk, everyone. Hope we'll get another chance to do this tomorrow too. After seeing Mayor's to her own room, the sinners, who are still up, and I laid ourselves on the hard stone floor. A mysterious world that has neither the city nor the outskirts. But it seemed the lives of its people led were just as difficult as they were anywhere else. It's so big. That ship is huge. Amazing. I didn't know there were remaining vessels of this class in Iberia. Jesus. Aha, I spy her name here. It is called by the name Rebellion de las Masas. Rebellion de las Masas. Revolt of the Masses, is it? A name very much marred in peculiarity indeed. Hong Lu chimed in that he was rather fond of it, with his size being about the same as a boat from his home. Well, Ishmael quickly jumped to correct us that his size alone wasn't anything special at the Great Lake, but it was still pretty big compared to Mephiu and the Indigo Elder's skiff. I thought it was going to be somewhere around Mephiu's size at most. Are you sure you can get that ship fixed in a day or two? As I briefed you yesterday, the great majority of the time-consuming repairs had already been completed by the villagers. The extent of our repair efforts only concerns a few components with the vessel that the villagers could not repair, which shouldn't take us much time. Unless parts that are unfamiliar to Faust are also malfunctioning, such as the core of the engine, remaining repairs should be sufficiently managed by Faust. Despite Otis's confident declaration, I could not help but feel oddly unsettled as I looked at the ship. I don't know why, but something tells me we don't want to linger here for too long. Still, please be thorough about it, just in case. I'd rather not sit on a sinking ship again. The experience at the Great Lake was enough. Do not worry, Dante. Unlike Mephistopheles, most functions of this vessel, buoyancy gear, propellers, steering gear, all are operational capacity. All are in operational capacity. This repair should be much safer than the case with Mephistopheles. They seem confident enough. It should be the safe this time around, right? Are we taking that rope to climb up to the ship? No, there's a lift-like apparatus down here. It should take us up to the ship. Its stability was verified yesterday. Let us board the lift. You're 100% certain, right? The boat is afloat now, Dante. I don't think it'll be sinking anytime soon. Wouldn't that be nice? Oi, are you two just going to faff about down here? We're heading up now. No, we're going with you. As I made my way, I was greeted by the extravagant interior that was as gaudy as its exterior. This isn't real gold, is it? Sure is shiny as heck in here. I've got butterflies in my stomach. Yes. Aesthetically satisfying, she says. But too ostentatious. Not quite my style. Our young Mephi is quite the excellent vessel, yet imagine the adventures we can embark aboard this vessel. Most lavishly decorated. As Faust and Otis were working on the control panels, Ishmael walked up to an interface with it before giving a nod. This must have been An investigative or research vessel of sorts, but it does seem a bit extravagant for one of those though. Look, coordinates, updating in real time it seems. The coordinates seem to have been set to somewhere out in the middle of the ocean. Maybe it points to a small islet? Nope, no islet there. Whoa, blimey lass, you sure know how to sneak up on people. Mayors? What? Did I actually surprise you? I did ask if you guys were gonna come fix a boat today. Still, I didn't know you'd be here. Where are the coordinates set to this location? There are several undersea cities beneath those coordinates, collectively known as Aegir. Gramps is home. I see. Understood. What was understood, if I may ask? It is now understood why the promise to repair the ship was sufficient to earn their trust and the title of saviors. What's she on about? Someone get translating. Consolidating and cross-referencing the observed particular circumstances of the village and the statements from the village chief, alongside information garnered from the exchange with the mayors, it is possible to gauge the significance of the ship's repair has to the local populace. Of course, while this may constitute a sequence of logical connections that poses a certain challenge for equals to comprehend, bro, to employ any degree of effort to attempt to explain it in a more digestible language would constitute a pursuit of inefficiency. Lower the baton, I implore you. I shall explain it in full. I was wondering when Mrs. Smartars would start gabbing like that again. What's she on about? His shoulders relaxed, and it seemed like he was actually going to swing the bat. He placed it lightly on his shoulder. A brief observation of the village seemed to suggest their subsistence situation was quite dire. Much of their daily sustenance consisted of dry food, most of them made for long-term storage purposes. Considering what Scotty said about how coastal areas are full of danger, maybe those dried seafood aren't from around here either. Maybe it's food they packed when they first came to Ferro Muerto. Some villagers were armed, yeah, and those sea terrors weren't exactly that formidable, but given the state the villagers are in, I doubt they'd have an easy time repelling those monsters. Indeed, and that brings us to the question of sustenance. Right, I get what's going on here. The lass and her granddad are about to visit their hometown, and they're trying to get some food supplies from there to feed the villagers, and to convince them. They're planning to use that fact that they're from the same neck of the woods, or sea, I guess. Oh, so we're just repairing their ship. We're repairing their food supply plan too. Huh? What's wrong? It's, while the expressions were rather crude, Heathcliff's summary was quite clear, to the point, and easily understood. The student stared at him with mild surprise. And I did too. What's with them annoying looks? Wait, oh you sods! You don't think I'm that dim-witted, do you? Top-notch intuition. It's just that it's been a while since you've shown this side of yourself. Hey, he was part of the Seven Association for a reason. That's all I'm saying. Thinking back, Heathcliff's intuition has always been excellent, and he often put together surprisingly accurate conclusions with impressive speed. You know, when you really think about it, it's kind of your fault, bruh. I've been too soft on you lately, haven't I? Oi, get back here! Now, with those fools out of the conversation, was he correct? Otis looks away from the usual chaos and asks Mayers. Honestly, I'm surprised. He was on point. Yeah, food's been running low in the village. At this rate, we won't last another year. But the Aegir will. I'm sure they'll welcome us with open arms. I don't want to come off like I'm overly worried, but you think they'll welcome the others too? Unlike Mayers or Chief, they're not Aegir. I believe they will. Iberia suspects and hates the Aegir for no other reason than that we're from the sea, but our home cannot have fallen so low as to abandon a group of starving land dwellers. Prithee, might thou explain to us who the Aegir are? I had initially thought it to be a reference to a region, yet also seems to refer to an affiliation of sorts. Maybe they're something like nest dwellers, though I don't think I've heard of a nest that accepts backstreets people with open arms. Or maybe they used to be some kind of rich folk. If they call them if they call them Nest Toffs Aegir here, then does that make the rabbit ears last Aegir too? Wait, in the world you came from, do they not distinguish between races? that is not entirely true. Delineation between races is a concept that does exist, though I only saw them in the Fathoms. There were those terrifying things called the cuckoo spawns. However, as a general rule, it can be said that humans should be the only intelligent life forms in the city. The people of Terra have slightly varying appearances depending on their race, like my cautus ears. And we've got pointed ears because I'm an Aegir, though it's not a characteristic every Aegir shares. The closest idea to what they're discussing appeared to be... yeah, by context clues in the manner of word usage, including the names and classification. The closest example in our world would be blood fiends, similar external appearances to humans, different natures, comparable sapiens. 'Tis of my belief that blood fiends are ostracized due to their nature that make it coexistence with humans difficult. It may be that the Aegir are also... I'm sure some of them do possess qualities that make coexistence difficult with others, but they're probably rare. Then wherefore are they made subjects of suspicion and hatred? That's... well, the language is new, but the idea itself is pretty familiar to city folks like us. Think of feathers of fallen wings, kids born in the backstreets, people who replace their body parts with prosthetics. The form differs. What? The form differs, yet in its essence we find the thread. Because it's different, we hate it. Something about how we keep finding these similarities in the ways of our lives, despite being different worlds with different rules, races, and humans, felt oddly discomforting. The point is, you guys are doing us a real solid by fixing up the ship. Let's move on from these gloomy conversations, okay? I want to show you the cooler parts of the ship this way. The ship tour may have to wait. The repairs are almost completed, but an issue has arisen. Issue? Well, that's not reassuring at all. Multiple life forms identified ahead, assumed to be Sea Terror Horde. The ship's radar system seems to suggest that the vessel is surrounded. They're the same monsters from yesterday. Executive Manager, please order us to prepare for battle. Damn it, are they the Sea Terrors you encountered? They look a bit different, but yeah, probably. There's a lot of them. But if our experience tells us anything, we should be able to handle this. Amiya, please support us in battle like you did yesterday. Canst thou fight, young mares? I feel like I'm just gonna get in your way. Then guys, find a place to keep mares as far as possible from the battle. Then let's hurry down there. We don't want them damaging the ship any further. Okay,
갑자기 나를
here we have
도와준다니
이상이요.
이건 무슨
She's a runner.
수작질이지?
행색이
수상쩍은
Chelsea
데가
runner.
없진 않으나
그럼에도 이상이요.
특별히
pretty mid.
이상한
내가
점은
봤어.
없군요.
Yeah, okay.
내가 아시
예사도 이렇게
오케이,
일이 쉽게 풀린 적이 드물었는데
Kinda wanna
강호
see.
유람기라면 이스마일 그자가 진행해주는 탁자 위에서 하는 놀이 말이십니까?
놀이가 아니야 모험이지.
Let's do that and boom.
흑수묘, 뒷박질 춤,
Let's see this. Command meltdown.
아득한 야정, 멈추지 않는 시대에서
Damn.
희망과 미래를 찾아 스스로 답을 구하시길.
Oof. Dang, dang, dang. God damn.
무형 완벽한 승리 축하드립니다, 아가씨.
Mission accomplished.
이 정도의
Man,
성과라면
that's sick.
4대
so
가문의
sick.
자제들도 인정할 수.
Oh, wow, this one has a lot of HP.
何か変化が
Basis
행색이
movement.
이상하나 그럼에도
Stand by
이상이요.
state does not use
내가
attack
봤어.
skills until taking
내가
damage.
아시의 이상을
Enter
함께
combat ready
줬던
state.
호위
Oh wow.
이상이요.
So this one's actually gonna be dangerous. Allegedly.
풀린 적이 드물었는데
강호
Okay.
유람기라면
Now I
이스마일
get to see
그자가 진행해주는
the overclock.
탁자 위에서 하는 놀이 말이십니까?
It's gonna be
놀이가
sick. It's
아니야
gonna be sick.
모험이지.
불가 위야.
Command
나가지 못해.
meltdown.
내 피가 명령실에 먼지 위를 걸어
Bang.
고독을
Bang.
주고 아스라의 먼 미래로 나아가라.
Oh my god. Damn.
가스 도받침 거니까.
빨리 봐라.
완벽한 승리
뱅.
축하드립니다, 아가씨. 이 정도의 성과라면 4대 가문의 자제들도 인정할 수밖에 없을 겁니다.
좋은 수업 덕분이지.
The remaining entities have all returned to the sea. Is everyone okay? It was just like our last skirmish. Sea terrors that surrounded the ship returned to the sea before the battle came to an end. And their retreat felt too orderly and deliberate to just be running away. It's almost like they're making a tactical retreat. We're doing PT, but what about the ship? Pal, is the ship okay? Minor damages to the hull, but nothing that will impede the ship's operational capabilities. Phew. So I noticed during the battle, I might be wrong of course, but I think I noticed around the end of the battle, those monsters were starting to go after the manager? You're probably right actually. I noticed too, at some point during the battle, those monsters realized it's the manager who's commanding the rest of us. I sensed the very same. Their movements were fluid and adapted, as though they were learning our behavior. Why does the Church of the Deep worship monsters like them? That ain't much of a question, isn't it? They must have all gone mental. Well, I'm sure they have many reasons, but Seaborns are beings of infinite potential. So much that there's no superlative big enough to properly convey the scale. What the fuck? As organisms, they can endlessly evolve and adapt. Every time they encounter a new environment or a new element, they transform themselves and other Seaborns. Maybe that's their draw. That fascination, maybe an attitude most befitting a researcher, yet the transformation of fascination into idolatry is, if I may be frank, not entirely positive. I find them pretty uncomfortable. They remind me of rare whales. They can adapt to learn a language to communicate with us then, maybe. I don't know. What? Going by everything we heard, I think they sound really smart. Yep, he's right. It sure was something. I heard that there was a Seaborn who could talk. If non-humans can speak the language of humans, regardless of their intelligence, I can only think of two possibilities as to why they would. One, to communicate, the other, to deceive. More often than not, it's the latter. What about distortions? Some of them already know how to speak. Distortions are phenomena in which humans transform into monstrous forms, first observed after the White Knights and Dark Days incidents. Therefore, that example is irrelevant to Otis' supposition. White Knights and Dark Days. The Pillar of Light in the city, did it really? How have you come across this knowledge, Miss Mayers? Oh, that's it obvious. Got the culprit right here. The storyteller, the lass who's been gabbing with no end. She's been talking non-stop all morning about all kinds of stories, hasn't she? Huh? Yet I have not gotten that far. You again? You get so lost in your stories that you blabbed about our company's secrets, have you? Nay, fie, I would simply not. So she knows something about the city. As to what? Weird. It's quite strange. I wonder which of the two the Seaborns are. Their sense of self is really, really faint, so I don't think they'd be in either category. I think it's possible that they learned human language out of instinct, that the power of speech might help them survive. It appears that you, Miss Maris, are quite the expert on the subject of Seaborns. Your knowledge of them goes beyond what fear for one's survival may yield, thereby suggesting different means of acquisition. Do you, by chance, worship the Seaborns? I don't worship Seaborns. Seaborns don't have any hopes or wishes, just this desire for survival. Miss Mayers, does that mean Seaborns were somehow able to hope? Maybe so. Is that so? Repairs are complete. As we were conversing, Pulse descended from the ship with a neatly organized set of tools borrowed from the village. Repairs completed. I'm guessing repairs are done? Yes, the ship is ready to set sail. Did you have a departure time and date in mind? I would prefer if we could depart as soon as possible. We don't have a set time or anything, but I think we should set sail this late afternoon at the earliest. That soon? As you've seen, we don't have a lot to bring with us. By the way, how far out to sea do you guys need to go? We need to find this dimensional door of sorts. could see the dimensional door's light from the beach at night. It was faint, but given how the light's strong enough to break through the sea of fog, we should be able to determine its location somewhere around the coastal waters. So, we can go back to night. The first order of business is to relay this news to the villagers. Yeah, back to the village for now. There's something going on in the village. Yeah, I hear it too. I'm hearing people shouting and hollering. When we returned, ship repairs completed. We were welcomed by a hostile standoff. A quick count told me there were approximately 20 people assembled at the square. Considering its population, that was pretty much the whole village. But who's over there? Inquisitor. I think we've been found. The Inquisitor, dressed in a well-kept uniform, is about the same height as Don Quixote. The sword and the lamp hanging from her waist sits in stark contrast with the more run-down, ramshackle village. She almost looked like a fixer from the city. So, the Inquisition has discovered our village. Do you really think you could forever stay out of the Inquisition's gaze, citizen? That's a naive dream. Fabius disappeared from the Inquisition mid-interrogation under charges of suspicion of membership within the Church of Deep. Last known location, Salt Flat. The other Inquisitors have informed me you have been identified next to pirates and its fringes. From a criminal to an outlaw, what a dramatic evolution of your career. But it ends here, now. Every citizen here, including you, will be accompanying me to the Inquisition. They have never broken a single law, or are they outlaws of any kind. They're not like me. They've disregarded the Inquisition's authority, evaded the gaze of Iberia, and found the sodden coast to lurk in. Tell me, I'm not supposed to find that suspicious. What are you talking about? You can't just start arresting people left and right with a tenuous suspicion like that. You shouldn't. We only wish to live a quiet life, ma'am. Is that so? Then you might find yourself returning to this village one day, as long as you're telling the truth. Which is not an option for you, Fabius. Mares, was the chief really a pirate? Well, yeah, but as far as I know, he's been out of the game for a while. And even when he ran with the pirates, all he ever did was share Finbeast jerky to the villages. Or carry Aegirians between them. Even if you're telling the truth, Mares, I doubt the Inquisition will be lenient. Well, what now? I have but one question to ask. That Inquisitor, is she following proper legal procedures? I don't know much about the laws of Iberia, but Dr. Calcid told us the words of Inquisitors are pretty much the law here. It is likely she is following the proper legal procedures. The procedures are precisely what the villagers have fled from, after all. When it is decided, I'll just quietly drag me. The sinners who were right next to me seem to pick it up, though. Executive Manager, we best immediately return to the ship, take command of it, and sail out on our own. It is unwise to involve ourselves in this conflict. What? Are you seriously suggesting we just let them arrest the villagers? Didn't you hear what the Inquisitor said? It seems cut and dry to me. This is a standard procedure with no local laws broken. We're in no place to involve ourselves. Our best hope is to take the ship before they impound that too. We can't do that, even if it is a standard procedure. Even if they're working within the law, it's not... You stayed up to hear Mayor's story too, didn't you? You know, the Incorp Inquisitors were working within the law too. They came for the village. That was standard procedure too. If anyone had stepped in then. I know what you went through, but I'd still rather not take the risk in an unfamiliar environment like this. I'll try my best to figure out how to sail that ship. If I cannot, then I have faith in Ishmael to quickly learn its controls. I can't say you're wrong, but I don't know. Neither you nor I know anything about the ocean currents here, Otis. We can get the ship going, but I can't guarantee we'll reach the dimensional door without any trouble. Do you know anything about the sea currents in this region? Not much, but I know the coastal sea somewhat. And you can't fight the Inquisitors directly here in Iberia. Fleeing with the ship might be the better option. What should we do, Dante? I guess it's kind of awkward for us to just take the ship and go, huh? How about we try and talk to the Inquisitor then? I think we should at least try to hear them out first. Them being the Inquisitor and the Chief both. If the discussion goes well, we might even be able to get the Inquisition support. Like Mr. Honglu said, we should hear them out first, then try to convince them. I agreed with them both. First, let's see what the Inquisitor has to say. so I had my mic muted, I didn't realize. It's whatever, I guess. We're wearing a clockhead due to reasons, but they have nothing to do with the Colombian Union. What's the Colombian Union? TikTok. Which language are they speaking? Regardless of whether you're from Colombia or not, you're clearly not from Iberia, let alone this village. You're not wrong, but I think there's been a bit of a misunderstanding. I'm quite certain you don't know enough about these villagers to stand between them and an inquisitor. How long have you been staying here? 2 days? Buddy, don't just tell her that. 2 days. Alright, enough of this chicanery. Get out of my way, outsider. The attempt appears to have been made on quite the unstable ground. Please lend us your ear for a minute, Inquisitor. I am Amiya, leader of Rhode Island. Yes, I'm aware of Iberia's closed border situation. Oh my god. Oh, so not only are we dealing with icehounders of dubious origin, we have illegal entry as well. We had to because the issue demands urgency and... I've been briefed. Recently crossed the border, didn't you? I don't know how urgent that issue could be, but I doubt it's anything more significant than the situation at hand for Iberia and its Inquisition. The High Inquisitor is handling the Rhode Islands issue. Stay put and await the consequences while he and that chatty med doctor of yours talk it out. We know that your treatment may depend on her negotiation skills. As for the village chief, I understand you have the right to arrest him, as he is a fugitive who has fled the middle of an interrogation and has been sailing away with the pirates. However, it is inhumane to attempt to arrest the villagers as well. Inhumane? The decision is well within the rights bestowed upon the Inquisition. They've lived for years next to that radically suspicious Aegir. The Inquisition must investigate them as well to verify whether they have committed any acts of treason against our laws. This isn't going anywhere, is it? Listen, they've been surviving for years upon years by the coast without the protection of the Inquisition, and that simply cannot make sense. Oi, I think I've heard enough from you. Ain't it funny how you're blaming them for is essentially a failure of your responsibilities? And now, you roll up here, only to go, they shouldn't be alive, I'm arresting them all. What are you saying, these people should be all dead or something? I am. There's no other way to cut it. People simply shouldn't be able to survive in a place like this, or not for this long. The Inquisitor's reply only seemed to fan Heathcliff's wrath, as he lifted his bat and began striding forward. That's it. Alas, if you ever so much as touch the tip of a single villager's hair. Please calm yourself, Heathcliff. Honglu stepped in. Get your bloody hands off me, I had enough of her! Continuing to threaten her would cause something irrevocably bad to happen. I believe you know that yourself, Heathcliff. What do you suggest then? We're clearly not making any progress by trying to talk this out. Excuse me, Miss Inquisitor. What do you mean that people shouldn't be able to survive in a place like this? I mean it literally. Even by some miracle, they actually do survive. They should at least be suffering from endless hunger, struggling to their wits' end at the inevitability of the calamity. But they look too healthy. The heck? Then should you be applauding them for managing to survive through so much hardship? I'm an Inquisitor. Not some crazy person on a power high who goes around accosting and arresting civilians of Iberia straight to the gallows, okay? I have more than enough probable cause to take them in for interrogation. It's just I don't have the time or energy to explain every single one of them to you outsiders. I promise them a fair judgment, whichever that may be, after a proper investigation. So stop it with this obstruction of justice. The Inquisitor brandished her rapier threateningly. Dante, without the full picture of circumstances, Faust advises against further antagonization of a local political authority. I agree with Faust. I get the feeling she isn't the kind of heartless Inquisitor that goes around indiscriminately executing innocents like Miss Mayers told us about earlier. I don't think she's anything like the Inquisitors of Incorp we saw back at Cowl. You're right, we don't have the full picture of circumstances getting in the way of an Inquisitor who was clearly a rather significant political entity in this area, was most likely a bad idea. It isn't the Inquisitor's job to answer your questions. Continue to instruct me, then, as the standoff was showing no signs of ending. Miss Mayers? I can answer your questions, so for now, let's do as the Inquisitor says. Mayers, who had been hiding behind us, suddenly stepped forward. Yet What of thy grandfather and the villagers? It's alright, I'm sure this is happening only because the Inquisitor doesn't know. What do you mean you answer the questions about the profound silence? The black silent what? Mary's response to Otis was but a single concept. I don't quite grasp its significance, but it seemed to surprise the Inquisitor. That's what they call the calamity that destroyed Iberia. Decades ago, a great wave rampaged through Iberia. It wasn't long before the Seaborns, carried by the waves of diminished Iberia's brilliant civilization to this. The waves, the profound silence, then must have reduced the village to its current state as well. Is there any reason it's called the profound silence? It doesn't seem to be the most appropriate moniker for a calamity like that. Because the sea went dead silent before the waves came. The silence then claimed ships out at sea, then the cities of Iberia, then the Iberians. No one could say a word in the face of the ineffable calamity. What are you? No average Iberian citizen should be privy to any of the other information you're sharing. And the Church of the Deep is really capitalizing on the pandemonium that followed the profound silence. They pretend to be Aegir from the sea, delude the citizenry of Iberia, and are sowing chaos in her lands. So that's why they're arresting Aegir left and right. I can see the thought process, but, So it's understandable why the Inquisitor would want to arrest us. Dante, this isn't good. Sharing that seems to have been some kind of a taboo-like thing for the Inquisition. She's afraid. She shouldn't be knowing this information. The High Inquisitor once told me that, should I come across an Aegir who knows too much, there's a sliver of chance they may be of assistance to Iberia. Cease! Thou art threatening the innocent with thy brandishing of a firearm. But most are seduced by the allures of the sea. Thus, they are, with little doubt, our foes. I've got a bad feeling about this. Get out of my way, outsider. Final warning. Run! Oh my god. The Inquisitor draws her firearm. Yeah? Oh my god. Don Quixote rushed toward the Inquisitor without a moment's hesitation. Don Quixote! Thou shalt go no further. I, a fixer of justice, shan't abide as thou persecute them. Forsooth, 'tis a battle delayed, not avoided. This clash is inevitable. Oh my god. Monster. Whoa. A large obsidian crystallization in the shape of a monster bursts forth between the two of them. Who is it this time? Oh, it's Calcit. Holy shit. That is enough meaningless bickering. Dr. Calcit! Do you know her? Yes, she's Dr. Calcit, Rhode Island's medical department's... Ah, Dr. Calcit, behind you! Shoot first, talk later, is it? The negotiations are over. From this moment onward, Rhode Island is now operating within legal capacity on Iberian territory under the Inquisition's authorization. The Inquisitor fired a blast of that firearm-looking weapon, but the monster summoned by Calcit managed to deflect it. Okay. The cannonball thrown from the weapon punched clean through the wall of the building we stayed the night in, before punching through several other buildings. That was almost instantly enough to instantly freeze the sinners and the villagers. That penetrated a building. Though their walls may be weaker than the head's standards for what counts as a building's exterior wall, to punch through so many is... what a precise point it makes. Now's not the time to stand around impressed. It is a violation of the taboo to have that much penetrated power in a firearm. We're not in the city. Don't lose your heads over this. Taboos don't apply here. My head knows that to be true, yet my heart finds it difficult to be still. That is enough discussion for now. It is advisable we carefully observe and grasp the situation at hand instead of deliberating on a taboo. The jurisdiction which does not reach this far. That's crazy, bro. The head was fucking destroyed this whole place. Yeah, so the situation's gotten slightly better, right? She's Amiya's friend. She's our ally. Besides, she got some powerful looking prosthetic looking gear thing too. Is that what you think? I apologize for this disappointment, but I'm not on anyone's side. In other words, your particular denomination ally might not be entirely correct. However, if I must define my allegiance, then let me inform you the closest label would be that I am Inquisitor Irene's ally. Dr. Kaltz, Amiya, outsiders. As much as you would like to deny it, the Inquisitor's suspicions are true. What can be said, the process by which you reached that conclusion was unfair. The conclusion itself is, without a doubt, correct. So they're actually connected to the Church of the Deep? That is one way to put it. To be more precise, they are connected to the Church of the Deep. They are the Church of the Deep. Perhaps the village itself is a dilapidated church of their congregation. Our village? A church? Just look at our buildings. Where would we even congregate? Your thoughts, Faust? There are not many resources by which we... What? There are not many resources by which we may analyze the decision. However, the fact that Amiya's colleague has made the same argument as the Inquisitor brings the accused's defense into question. Yet, I can hardly believe that young Mayers is lying to us. Hold on, you've been chatting plenty with that Inquisition or whatever. How do we know you weren't aligned with them the whole time? I see, you really are all entirely in the dark, an unexpected outcome, given that all of you may be from a place far beyond the dimensional door. As fortune should have it, there is no need for you to know it anyways. Truth is truth unchanging, without the acceptance from an errant group of outsiders. Besides, soon. I'm sorry, it seems we admired you in this trouble. Say no such thing. We shall not abide by as one such injustice is perpetrated before our eyes. The village has already been identified by the Inquisition, and the Inquisition has brought an ally. It seems unlikely that words shall solve this conflict. But we promise you, we will take responsibility for what is done. We have benefited far too much from your warmth and kindness not to do so. The village chief, with a benevolent look, pulls a dagger from his cloth, and I immediately knew what Kaltz was about to say. Take responsibility? You don't have to go that far. Blimey! Now departing for the sea. Yet, as we cannot bring ourselves to leave you here, I must ask you to join us for this journey. Become our bloodkin. What are you doing? Stop! Oh my god, they're like blood fiends. Ugh. Damn it, the Inquisitor was right. Damn. And it seemed they were coming for me as well. Amir, on your left. Holy shit. Ooh. Oh my god. Someone flung them away. Didn't mean to be this late. Scotty, let me catch you up to speed. I know, the situation. This fishy smell is what I meant to investigate earlier. What about the sinners? Unlike Amiya and I, the sinners weren't doing so well. At least we had a silver lining that the Inquisitor and Kaltz's quick understanding and the subsequent retaliation led the villagers away. Help! I didn't notice any hostility or aggression. What an odd thing to say. Why would he hold any animosity against you? Why would we intend to kill you? We're not trying to hurt you. We're simply trying to give you a form better suited for the sea. Until we were obstructed. I apologize. Our unfamiliarity has caused you trouble, Inquisitor. I won't make a big stink about what just happened. What's truly unforgivable is that the heretics tried to take advantage of the ignorance of outsiders to flee the Inquisition. And even if you are outsiders, any lives lost on Iberian soil are my responsibility. It's my fault. I'm sorry it came to this. Wait, lives lost? We're still alive, you know. We shake off a stab wound like... This is most unfortunate, outsider. Huh? What? Friends are either going to die or turn to seaboards. Daggers that stabbed them were laced with the flesh of sea terrors. Once that happens, most die and survivors become overridden by their cells, becoming nothing more than another sea monster. What? That's not a very big deal. Hey, I should be able to deal with this by turning the clock. We should just kill them before they turn. Sorry to bother you with this, but can you kill my friends? Preferably in the least painful way, you know? Oh, sorry, was that last part kind of too much to ask? Wait, don't give up already. If we bring them back, we should be able to do something. How should I explain this? Guys, can you... I know what you mean, but I just can't right now. My strength has rapidly deteriorated. It's kind of tingly too, so maybe they use some kind of paralytic cocktail? Just trust me this one time. I can assure you, I'm not giving up on them. But, Amiya, can you understand the outsider's speech? It's just that they're making a pretty difficult request. They want me to kill all their friends. Okay. Jesus. What are you doing? Scotty, don't let this spook you. This is just how we roll. Oh my god. Oh my god. It's multifold worse than the sensation of straightforward decapitation. Oh my god. Their wounds are disappearing? Resurrection? Medium-sized crocus or time reversal? Puzzling. I have no knowledge with which to interpret this technology. The cost seems to be that the pain is transferred to the one who rewinds. But that seems to be a small price for such great power, though the discussion of whether this can be categorized as power should be explored later. I couldn't stop shaking, all my limbs were trembling from the icy solitude. Still, I took a moment to collect myself. I don't know what they were thinking, but we should be able to find out once we take them down. You dare to deceive the executive manager and try to take their life? Prepare thyself, for thou shalt pay the price for making a mockery of justice. Oh, is this Aura, guys? What the fuck? Holy shit. Yeah, we can't let this slide, you know. How unfortunate. I had high hopes that you all would become fine bloodkins. Alright.
囚人の皆さんの状態に何か変化が
행색이 이상하나. 그럼에도 이상이여.
Steadfast
내가
called to
봤어.
sleep,
내가
and then Fabius.
아시의 이상을 함께 줬던
What's with the sanity power creep, bro?
이상이여.
Sea terror assimilation. Music's going hard? Okay. Nervous impairment, okay. Wow, okay, never, okay. I mean... Yeah, I mean, I should just be spamming, right? Everything seems fine. We just go.
흑수묘 뒷박질 준비.
친히 목을 떨궈주마.
I can't imagine this being too hard.
숨통 끊기.
방금의 움직임 두말할 것 없이 100점 만점입니다, 아가씨.
이런 것쯤이야. 눈 감고도 해.
하나 넘고 둘 넘고 꺾고 제쳐라.
ドクターのように優れた式ですね。リンバスカンパニーの皆さんとご一緒できて本当に嬉しいです。
I mean cell injection. Here we go. Sea terror assimilation. Okay. If 5 stacks, it fucking leaves? Okay. So if anyone has 5 stacks, they just fucking get out of commission.
시비수에게 명한다. 이 앞에 숨쉬는 자 누구 하나 살리고
This music's really giving me fucking the La Mancha Land vibes. I'm not gonna lie to you.
흑수묘 뒷박질.
이건 예상 못했나 봐. 깔끔하게 물었군.
강호 유람기에서도 이렇게 일이 쉽게 풀린 적이 드물었는데
강호 유람기라면 이스마엘 그자가 진행해주는 탁자 위에서 하는 놀이 말이십니까?
놀이가 아니야. 모험이지.
헤어내리.
토끼를 본다. 저 해충들을 도려내라.
무용하군요. 틈을 끊어. 바로요. 이제 깨우치시겠네.
Dude,
약점을
So
찔렀어.
broken.
완벽한 승리 축하드립니다, 아가씨. 이 정도의 성과라면 4대 가문의 자제들도 인정.
wait, I think they're heading to... He's running himself into a dead end. Are they seeking refuge at sea? Wait, that's where the ship is. That's where they're headed. They're trying to board the vessel Masas. But we never told them the ship was repaired, so how? Ain't it obvious? The whole village is in on it. It ain't a surprise they'd send someone to spy on us. Or they know a way to get the ship floating even in its broken state. Vessel Masas? Vessel Rebellion de Masas. De las Masas. That ship is moored at port in that direction. Wait, it can't be. Dang, it's gone. How can a vessel of that size become operational this fast? Exterior, the name, must have been constructed during the golden age of Iberia. But how are we supposed to chase that? What if we built a raft and rode after them? Mate, come on. Sea's full of sea terrors. It won't get very far before it sinks. See something, Amiya? You keep looking at direction. Oh. The village left an empty sign of people, never having even been there. Holy crap. Damn it, can't we just take any ship to go after it? It's a research vessel, we can't possibly be very fast. This will be difficult. Even if it's a research vessel, I'm sure it was constructed during the golden age of Iberia. No average ship can keep up with it. Which is a problem, because I doubt we have any ship that can travel at the same speed. We have a few small vessels left, which are all anchored too far from this location to be feasible options. Do we have any recourse? No, not unless we can identify the exact location of the vessel, which is a real problem. We can find ourselves a ship to go after them, but most eyes of Iberia, the lighthouses, were lost during profound silence. Wait, when you say most, you mean there are some left? Just one, as far as I know, the one in Grand Faro, but that lighthouse cannot be used in this moment. There's another. It's a lighthouse you can use. Really? Ugh, are you really going to give one of the villagers a benefit of the doubt? Yet young Scotty had already confirmed her to be safe. All I confirmed is whether she's a seaborn or not. Can't know if she's a cultist. 'Tis true, yet. Once we saw Mary's left all on her own, we decided to have her accompany us at all times. Couldn't possibly blame her for what happened, given Scotty's confirmation that she doesn't have anything to do with those sea monsters. Besides, they'd all left her behind. Irene seemed to harbor a bit of suspicion. The problem with the A-Gear is that she simply knows too much. Where could she possibly have gained access to all that information? See, she can't even answer that question. But let's think about it this way. What if we were to ask her what we don't know? The location of that lighthouse, for example. You're ticking rapidly. What did they say? Don't they say that we should approach it differently and ask her what we don't know, like the location of the lighthouse? That seems to be a reasonable suggestion, or does the Inquisitor have an alternate solution to this conundrum? No, but... Fine, let's hear it. I won't interrogate you about how you have access to things that even us Inquisitors don't know, at least not right now. Faro Muerto, Dead Lighthouse, that's our village's name. Somewhere, a little ways off from the coastline, there's an intact eye of Iberia on the sea. It was almost destroyed when the profound silence swept through. Off the coastline, is it not connected to the land? It used to be, until it sank. We should be able to procure ourselves enough wood and material from the village to build a raft. Is it near enough for a raft to be means of access? The weather's not great today, but it should do. It's not very far from the coast. Even you're going to trust the Aegir? I don't see why I shouldn't. I understand the Iberians' mistrust of the Aegir is quite profound, and such sentiment is hollow to the rest of us. Inquisitor Irene, what did you feel when you saw the Rhode Island operator? You're asking about Kadas, nothing in particular, other than the slight annoyance when she accused me of being inhumane. So you didn't harbor any hostility or disgust, not that you would have felt any sense of sympathy or empathy either. I have no history of feelings for nor against the Aegir. Such must be the same for the outsiders. What's she on about? She's conveying that in matters regard to mayors, our opinions are more objective than Irene's. Finding the vessel Fabius commandeered will be of finding the vessel Fabius commandeered will be of benefit to all. Limbus Company will gain an opportunity to return to the city via the dimensional door, while Rhode Island will have a chance to study it at a closer proximity. And the Inquisition will gain possession of the vessel in which the technology from the Iberian Golden Age is contained. What? You're going to just hand over that to the Inquisition? Why should we covet that what was once Iberia's? While there certainly are aspects to that vessel that draw interest, I already have a state-of-the-art masterpiece known as Mephistopheles. As long as that can be guaranteed, I see no reason to refuse. We are in luck, Executive Manager. It is quite fortunate that our interests have aligned exactly with that of the first strangers we encountered in a strange land. Lucky is right. Imagine if we were back in the city. It would have taken like 3 or 4 free distortion hunts for us to come to this agreement. Sorry about having to saddle you with this, Mr. Mayors. Please lead us to the lighthouse. Okay, happily. So, when you said almost destroyed, how almost destroyed is it? Heard the light faded from the lighthouse a long time ago, but the shape still stands. At least it was when I saw it a few months ago. The lighthouse is in an inoperable state. We're going to need an expert technician to get it back in working order. The technology it's based on is completely divorced from popular application of the Originium technology, so I doubt there's anyone left who can work on it anymore. You needn't worry about that. Here, we have an engineer and a researcher who are geniuses even among those in the city, so we should be able to manage most mechanical failures. Today is just revelation after revelation, huh? I can vouch for Limbus Company's skills. I can also work on simpler tasks. I've learned a thing or two helping out Gramps. Stuff about the lighthouse or various tech stuff. Well, should we all head to the lighthouse together? No, I'll be leaving the group for a moment. Amiya will accompany you instead. What? After all that, you're going off on your own? Yes, to join the Doctor. It is imperative for the successful execution of this mission. Of course, that hinges on Amiya and Scotty remaining behind here to assist the rest of you. Thus, I leave it to the rest of you to take the Eye of Iberia, the lighthouse, back. Wait, what do you mean take back the lighthouse? Is there something or someone that's taken over the lighthouse? A likely supposition. Amiya, what did the manager of Limbus Company say? They're asking if the lighthouse has been taken over. Not a bad intuition. Yes, there's a high likelihood the structure has already been overrun by sea terrorists. I don't know about overrun, but I've encountered them a few times when we approached it too closely. Normally, this is hardly enough personnel to attempt a raid, but answer me this, are there any limitations to the revival? There are no restrictions as long as Dante survives. However, do note that battle efficiently depreciates with prolonged battle due to mounting mental stress on the manager. No need to change the plan then. Amiya, use this communicator to alert me as soon as you're able to identify the coordinates. If luck would have it, you would be able to reduce the time it takes to complete the retrieval mission. As long as you're not taking everyone with you, if it's just her who's leaving, then go ahead. I think we should be fine too. Then let's commence vessel massless retrieval. Righto. Step 1 of the plan's raft. Right, let's get on with it. It's done, let's go. What? Why are you looking at us like that? Is there something bothering you? Must you ask? Just look at how proactive and quick she is to jump to action. Certainly lives up to the image of an employee working for a large corporation. Thanks, Otis, for that charitable view, I guess. Thanks to Scotty, who had already finished the first step, we were able to move on to step 2 immediately. After a while of carefully sailing on Scotty's raft along the coastal cliffs, a gargantuan shattered lighthouse emerged from the thick mist. Eye of Iberia. Even in its dilapidated, ruined state, touches that are once monumental and sensitive are apparent on the exterior construction of the lighthouse. Some have even called these lighthouses guardians of Iberia. It retains the grandeur of the area, as it was built during its golden age. You really know everything, don't you? It's as she said, but now, these lighthouses are nothing but graveyards of countless inquisitors and soldiers of the Penal Battalion. Penis, what? No one who's attempted to retrieve a lighthouse has ever survived the expedition. Can you please not say scary stuff like that, Miss Irene? We're literally about to walk into one. Ugh, don't you ever quit chirping? What are you, a foul beast? Stop yapping in my ear. Why is this one such a coward unlike the rest of you outsiders? I'm not a coward, I'm just voicing my... She did just say some pretty concerning stuff. How long do you think the repairs will take? Its exterior is rather heavily damaged, however, from what is visible from the outside, the interior is still quite intact. With Miss Faust's expertise, it should not take very long. He sang suggested with a smile, but Faust maintained her silence for the entire journey, then said something pretty concerning in response. Of course, my wit remains unmarred even in such uncertainties. The currents are pretty wild. Someone's gonna have to stay behind and keep an eye on the raft. Can't just leave it there unattended, but I don't know if we can carry it either. I'll stay here and protect the ship. You sure can handle this alone? I know you're strong. One or two more people should stay behind in case. No, don't need them. Sea terrors will swarm the islet if I go with you anyway. So, this has nothing to do with you. She's trying to say as she's worried about you not having enough people to take on the lighthouse when she alone can handle this area, which is why she's okay with staying behind. Huh, thanks for explaining. Some people can't just help but hop through an extra hoop, I guess. Well, let's just trust her. We'll be back, Scotty. Luckily, we didn't run into any sea terrors on our way to the lighthouse gates. The problem was the gates were bound shut by strange blue tissues. Reminds me of that L-Corp branch back at U-Corp, though that one was white. I don't think I can do anything to force it open myself, so... Guys, can you pry open this door? Wait, move over. I'll pull from the right side, you grab the left. We'll all pull together. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, huh? Something's off here. What are you doing? The door is firmly secured in place. This flesh tissue regenerates almost as soon as it is torn. Perhaps you'll need to tap into a wilder form of art to get this open. Well, what now? This strange flesh tissue reacts to the lamp, but it's grown too much to be affected in any meaningful capacity. Scotty might be able to open this door with her incredible strength, but... Should I go fetch her? I think she's already fighting sea terrors from the sinking the raft. We're all on our own. Maybe there's an identity card or ego I could use to get through this. So which one? Huh? Poor old black space. A faint noise, a whisper cuts through it. I see light. I reach out into the opening and see Scotty from a very warm gaze. Scotty? Yep. Scotty flaunts her flowing locks. And Scotty the singer humming in a low voice. Beyond the fringes of cognition, Scotty's existence has become engraved. The sinner who can wrestle and control this oceanic tidal power is... I'm good. I don't think we'll need to send for Scotty. Hey, Ishmael. I've never used this ego before, but I need you to trust me and accept it. An ego? Well, it's not like we ever get to have practice run with these ego. Seems to me our manager's found a solution. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? Get corroded? Ooh!
한눈 팔지 마세요.
Don't look away. Oh,
내 말은 당신에게 파도는 반드시 밀려올 테니.
that door is done for. Oh, cracks on the lighthouse are growing. I think she destroyed the door instead of opening it. Sorry, I didn't think it'd be this strong. Well, the door is open. What are we waiting for? No, I mean, just what was the part where I suddenly changed to a different outfit and clipped a different personality? Yes, that. This is most fascinating. That ego could be drawn here, in lieu of the mirror of Mephistopheles. I think it's connected to Amiya's subconscious mind. There was a strange, unfamiliar light. I saw Amiya's emotions attached to her memories and experiences, so I just reached out to them. My subconscious mind? I just had this feeling that would work. Sorry about peering in without asking. But I didn't see anything other than things about Scotty. All I needed were memories and emotions that could be used to understand that being that is Scotty. Scotty? What? I can't speak right now. It's fucking 4 a.m. It's okay. I have experience with gaining power from others' memories and emotions to overcome difficult situations. Maybe that's how you're able to draw something from me as well, Dante. As the most appropriate assumption, especially in a situation in which delving into its principles is impossible. So, that's called ego? Verily, of course Limbus Company's ego is quite distinguished from other ego, which are bloomed from within oneself. That is enough. No further information is to be divulged to outsiders. Yet it matters whether It matters not whether young mayors and Amiya learn of this. I agree with that fool this time. The Inquisitor used to be an artillery projectile that penetrates the outer wall. Some of them, in fact, of a building. I can't read this good right now. The head did not pursue her following that breach of taboo. This is clearly not the city. Ain't it better to let her talk her heart out than hear her moan and whine about not being able to say anything? I am convinced. Do as you will then. Everyone's too busy to pay attention to her as the wet. Okay. Can we do that later? We got some cleaning up to do. So there are more sea terrors past the door. I think any sea terrors from the sea are all converging around Scotty. Which means our only roadblocks are the sea terrors still lingering around the lighthouse. Let's go. Let's take this lighthouse back. The music's going
갑자기
hard.
나를 도와준다니.
이상해요.
이건 무슨 수작질이지?
행색이
수상쩍은
이상하다.
데가 없진 않으나
연애도 이상.
특별히
시기상이
시기상이
now.
어쩌겠지. 잘
이
생각해보라고.
앞에 숨쉬는 자.
아시의
But the principle will
이름을
still be the
함께
same.
보지 마라. 호위. 이상해요.
강호 유람기에서도 이렇게 일이 쉽게 풀린 적이 드물었는데
Okay, we get to
강호
see
유람기라면 이스마엘 그자가 진행해주는
Wreckers, which is
특전위에서
only a
하는
one,
놀이말이십니까?
right?
놀이가 아니야.
One attack weight.
모험이지.
I mean, it's fine, I guess. Oh wait, what does that say? When used for the first time, consume 1 fewer rat to. Oh wow. Okay. Unclashable. Oh, I didn't know that. I'll use it here then. I'll probably use this over here. Okay, let's see this ego and work.
일기당천.
That is if Honglu doesn't just
토끼를 본다.
kill everything.
약점을
저
찔렀어.
해충들을
그
도려내라.
짧은 감상이 메르소의 가르침이군요.
묘야.
Oh, again, okay.
대답 정도는
길을
해주십시오.
열어라.
Let's see this ego.
잘못 들고 오신 것 같습니다만
그 지배한 건 기세라고 히스클리프 그자가
하나
그랬거든.
넘고. 물 넘고.
効果的な攻撃でした.
무상한 목숨. 불끈을 지원할 뻔.
Okay, let's see this.
눈부시지 않다고
Ooh,
두려워하지 마.
that's fucking sick. Too bad it did no damage. That's because you're supposed to use it again,
강호
right?
유람기에서도 이렇게 일이 쉽게 풀린 적이 드물었는데
강호 유람기라면 이스마엘
Okay, what
그자가
the hell does
진행해주는
Menace have?
특전위에서 하는 놀이말이십니까?
놀이가 아니야. 모험이지.
At 40 mana scabbard becomes clashable. Okay. What the? That's I didn't even read that. What the hell? Consume all mana in scabbard and then gain the following recent effects. So you want to be using this at 40 stack. So I gotta wait 4 turns. Hand of the Saint. What? Huh. Someone has another C brand? Who is it? No one, probably. Would be all those guys. Okay. Let me just use this over here.
지식에
Oh,
완벽한 승리
That's funny.
축하드립니다, 아가씨. 이 정도의 성과라면
또 한 줄 길을 남겼군. 핏물진 길일 뿐이지만 세월이 지나면
Hey.
홍호는 그제야 알게 되겠지.
한눈 팔지 마세요. 메마른 당신에게 파도는 반드시 밀려올 테니.
Okay.
囚人の皆さんの状態
Another sea
に
spewer. This isn't gonna be that hard.
행색이 이상하나 그럼에도 이상이여.
이 거리는 충분해. 너한텐 조금 멀겠지만.
Jeez. That one was longer than usual. There are more sea terrors than we expected near the lighthouse, but thanks to Irene's lamp, the light of which paralyzed their nervous systems, paired with the rather narrow passageways, we were able to handle without much trouble. Also, as the control room was, unlike the exterior wall, mostly undamaged. Faust shared the good news that the repairs most likely won't take very long. Yiseng was right. The inside is barely damaged. How are you progressing, Miss Faust? It is almost complete. We better prepare to leave. And now radio to the doctor. Let's A tremor shakes the building with a loud boom. Debris begins falling. The lighthouse's precarious floor suddenly collapses. The floor is giving away. What's going on out there? Something rammed against the eye of Iberia. I see yacht shattering through the ocean's surface. A sheer explosive force turning water into the mist. It is charging at us once again. As Yiseng noted, I saw this shadow of a dark figure through the ruptured outer wall. The figure looked a lot like one of those knights of the city's western region Don Quixote would talk at length about. The lighthouse might crumble at this rate. We have no choice. We have to stop whatever is out there. Faust, stay here. The rest of us will ascend the lighthouse, and the lighthouse is almost fully functional. It'll take some finishing touches to have its light shine again, which I can handle, so I'll stay behind. Seems entirely unnecessary to leave the rest to you. I would much rather leave it to Faust, who is an expert. I've read about that seaborn before. The fables and legends say it is the last night, and if those stories have any grain of truth in them, you're going to need all hands on deck to even have a chance at stalling it. You better prepare a few days of interrogation. What? You better prepare for a few days of What? A few days, huh? You better prepare for a few days of interrogation once I bring you into the Inquisition. Your decision, Executive Manager? All hands on deck. Leave the lighthouse to Mayors. We have to put a stop to that night somehow. Oh wow. Waves crest high and violent behind the spear-wielding knight. We have to protect the already precious lighthouse against the knight. The knight begins to charge at us, his speed splitting the very sea. I instinctively know this isn't going to be easy. Oh my god, this is sick. The remix is sick already, dude. One day, wheat grains he planted did not sprout. One day, he stopped feeling the scent of life between his breaths. Thus he rides against the currents, hunting after waves. He seeks the waves, repulses them, and eventually brings about their destruction. Faint memories, having blinked through Amiya's fathoms, flash briefly before my eyes, and the seaborn knight wields his great lance against the surface sea terrors. He shudders as though with repulsiveness, but he does not stop. You obstruct progress and cover the lands. That is impermissible. This is the land. The knight and the sea terrors don't necessarily seem to be on the same side. Perhaps diplomacy may be a viable solution here. Overcome the bellowing roar and try to talk. Okay. Go, Honglu. We are not the sea, we are not its waves. The knight's great lance falters with doubt. Waves are the only thing that hold any meaning for him. Oh wow.
아는 것을 모른 채 할 수는 없으니.
敵の調子が悪くなっているみたいです。
Okay,
행색이 이상하나 그럼에도
let's
이상이여.
just play it safe.
내가 맞서
By play it safe, I mean spend the shit out of everything that'll make
아시의
us
이상을
fucking
함께
broken.
줬던 호위 이상이여.
What is clashing? Oh, I can forget about this then. Okay. We can do this.
시간 끌 것 없이
시비수에게 명한다.
모조리
이 앞에
지워버리자.
속기 저 해충들을 도려내라.
God, this music is so sick, bro. Yeah.
그쪽 방향이 아닐
I didn't even look at his fucking details. I'll look at it after this turn.
숨통 끊기.
모든
물러나.
것에 견뎠어.
이 목숨은 아직 따로 쓸 곳이 있다. 적을 물어뜯고
Let's get a read on
너희의
this
쓸모를
stuff.
보여라.
戦闘の準備を
Code. This unit has 3 stacks. Take 20 gloom damage and 20 SP damage, then gain 1 frozen. What the hell? Okay, be careful of that. Prioritizes target with frozen. Cannot act. It's like Sager, but not really. Inflict code against the attacker once per skill. Okay. Gain 8 protection. If it has lower morale, half the protection. This unit is... Oh, if it's staggered, it does not gain protection. Okay. When it takes damage that would kill it, nullify it, and then heal it back. And then it gains a new pattern. Okay. Do not let anyone get frozen. That's not gonna happen though. There are 6 enemies with code, gain 2 clash power up. Awesome. Gain misery and calamity. Okay, we don't even know how much. We don't know its level. It has an observation log. It's a seaborn. I'm not too scared of this fight.
무슨 술술.
뱀으로 꿰뚫어라. 저 해충들을 도려내라. 그쪽 방향이 아닐 텐데. 혈염도 바로. 모아타라.
Oh my god. We don't have anything in common with the knight. Cold loneliness, rides his bellow, insidious under the faint light. Are we waves or rocks in his eyes? Someone has to stand their ground. Who will stand their ground? Go. Cinerodian. Warmth reignites the fire of determination in the rest of the sinners. In that moment, Irene raises her lamp, showering the night with its light. Unlike the night, we're not alone, so we did not have to endure the chilling loneliness by ourselves. Ah, that's
봤어?
fucking good shit. Holy
이런 건
shit.
다른 뱀들보다
囚
내가
人
더
の皆さん
잘한다고.
の状態に何か変化が
That 8 protection is fucking crazy, dude. Holy crap.
적을 물어뜯고 너희의 쓸모를 보여라.
Damage time.
私たちは止まれません
베어내리.
하나 넘고 둘 넘고 꺾고 제쳐라.
ドクターのように優れた式ですね
토끼를 이를 본다.
効果的な攻撃でした。
틈을 끊어.
Bang. Okay. Things aren't looking good. I forgot he regenerates all of his HP.
なんだかただならぬ気配を感じます。
Unclashable. Okay. Awesome.
헤어내리.
What am I gonna do against it? Ouch. Ouch. Ouch.
과연
囚人に致命傷を確認。至急対処お願いします。
잠깐만 기다려. 이 거리는 충분해. 너한텐 조금 멀겠지만.
もっと効果的な方法が。
The knight rides upon the violently whinnying steed. Lance rays skyward. The knight races across the sea, splitting its waves. He won't succeed at this rate. Saw him, please, even for a second. Irene directs her hand cannon toward the knight. Her aim and will undulates on the same frequency with the waves. We need but a moment to recover. Topple the waves. Go for his legs, not his lance. We have to stop him. Who can put a stop? Maybe Sinclair? The knight's fierce charge briefly wavers when the sinner Sinclair jumps in his path. The Inquisitor quickly capitalizes on this momentary opening. A blinding spark flies from her hand cannon, and the knight is thrown off his steed. Okay.
달아오를 틈도 없이 끝났네.
Then Shadow pulls under the lone knight, susurrus of teeming flesh sliding against flesh that can be heard from underneath. Aren't they gathered to defeat the knight? They must have first gathered there, believing him to be one of them, until they came to a realization that the knight is a traitor to the Great Will. The knight leaps off the surface, but the sea rises violently in response to drag him back down. The waves crest high, gnawing upon the knight, crashing him back down to the water's surface. But he leaps once again, the cresting waves as the stepping stones. He belongs not to the sea. He stands tall against the Great Will, his head held high in eternal defiance. The remittent knight rides across the watery mountains and charges at us. Raja, save me! Whew. Cineronian brings the fucking the knight's charge to a stop, and the waves begin to crash in. Once, twice, thrice. But unlike the knight in the back streets, the waves don't stop coming. He has challenged the waves and is fated to do so for eternity. The waves will always shake the sea until the day the night's sinking.
봤어?
Okay.
이런 건 다른
우리가
밴드보다
유세됐어.
내가 더
状況
잘한다고.
を今一度。
That's not good. Jesus Christ. I can't believe that just happened, bro.
물러나라. 네 목숨을
자신과
따로 쓸
씹어.
곳이 있다.
どうすれば。
I'm bugged. Holy shit. I forgot to bring everyone because I didn't think this would happen, but I'm going to be in need. This is horrible.
어느 쪽일지 잘 생각해보라고.
I wasn't ready for Slay the Ocean to not. I'm dead here. Yeah, that's just unfortunate. What the fuck?
이날이 오긴 오는구만.
He's back!
これがリンバスカンパニーのやり方なんですね。
Job value's back.
勉強になりました。
I don't know what to do, bro. It's over.
시간 끌 것 없이 모조리 지워버리죠.
Wait, he's fucked. He's dead.
지나온 길을 생각하면
人の皆さんの
Wait, it's all over.
していきます私皆さんのことを信じています
Oh my god, bro. How did this work again? Is this a Maleficus?
시간 끌 것 없이
Theoretically, I could still
모조리
live,
지워버리죠.
but that's hella theoretical.
지원했군.
Oh, it's over.
무슨 술술해.
Yeah, okay,
짧기도 하지.
oh, that's cool. I'll be right back, I guess. Son of a bitch. I guess we could try this one now. As an enemy, nothing more. Nothing happened. Well, okay, that's not worth it.
囚人
Okay,
の皆さ
I'll
ん
be
の
back.
状態に何か変
Let's see what this one is. We have to charge at the night. The light's lance charge breaks through the gale like an unstoppable wave. Loneliness could not be shared. Okay, nothing happened. Awesome.
リンバスカンパニーの皆さんとご一緒できて本当に嬉しいです戦い方
This is looking horrible. I'm just gonna retry again. Fuck me. Okay. I'll be back again. Because apparently picking the wrong options does nothing.
혈염도 바로 모아쳐라
効果的な攻撃です
Alright, we're back. Now,
タンテさんなんだかただならぬ
it's
気配を感じ
unclashable.
ます
So, might as well just go ahead.
헤어내리 모험하군
잠깐만 기다려라.
적질났나
He needs to win this. Okay.
아는 것을 모른 채 할 순 없으니
I mean, I'd appreciate winning, but
이 일에 더 적합한 토끼를 찾죠
皆さんしっかりしてください
now I need to clash this with what the.
진짜
Someone died. I don't know who.
즐거운 시간이었는데.
물러나라 네 목숨은 아직
囚人が退却できませんでした
행색이
ダンテさんに
이상하나
は
Okay.
囚人を蘇生できる能力があります
Oh my god.
한 번쯤 나를 비껴라
짧기도
적을
囚人が死
물었고
亡
너의
どう
쓸모를
すれば
보여라
Hey, Honglu's still alive. You know what that means. Oh my god, it's over. Fuck off.
연기를 생각
What am I supposed to do against that? Dude, you just lost a clash. Son of a bitch. I think it's time for a different team, bro. Fuck me. So stupid. Bro.
이래서는 범인
タンテさんなんだか
서도록
た
할까
だならぬ気配を感じます
어두운 무지를 열어줬지
만만찮겠군. 본인이 하지. 차라리 아무것도
Oh my
남지
god.
마라.
The damage is so much crazy. Yeah.
囚人に致命傷を確認。
어두운
So
무기를
easy, bro.
열어줬지요.
Swap to fucking sinking if you want to make this fight easier. Jesus.
정의보다도 푸른 자여, 생명 속에 파묻힌 그대. 여기서 빛의 우리 앞을 막는 증오스러 나와 그대의 힘을 합쳐 위대한 아르카나 슬레이머!
And it's over.
편히 쉬.
Jeez, okay. This fight was pretty hard because Rupture's mechanics just didn't really work with this boss, I'll be honest. Good lord. I'm out of rounds. Lemp's almost out too. We're holding him back for now, but we won't last much longer. No, BS. I can last. The lighthouse? Not so much. What difference does that make? Sinners were reeling from the battle against this enemy, who was more like a force of nature than human. Without giving us much time to breathe, the knight fixes the spear and begins to charge at us again. It didn't take long for the severity of the situation to dawn as quickly as I began to rack my head with a desperate wish. What can I do? What can I do here? That's when, through the mist, the black space begins to envelop my vision once again. Wait, this is just like... From the dark, light shines again. I reach out toward it, unlike from the earlier phenomenon, which focused entirely powerfully on Skadi, a single individual. What I saw this time was an unfamiliar place called Casimir's. This place was filled to the brim with things that Don Quixote would lose her mind over, like knights and their countless fans, an arena which to test one's mettle. But the one in Amiya's thoughts sits far from all that glory, in a very mundane-looking office. He wears a set of well-kept clothing, while his eyes are, with a slight squint, focused on reading the newspaper. The man looked more like an office worker than a knight, but the most radiant part of that scene was the banner hanging on the wall and a sword. Don Quixote was the first sinner who came to mind. Can she, our ardent admirer of knights and pursuer of glory, spend that energy from this sword as her own? Wait, no, he's different. I need someone who doesn't pursue glory, someone who can handle their own tarnished glory. A sinner who can detachedly wield the entirety of their bygone horrors. Yes, there's just one. I'll trust you, Gregor. Use this ego to hew into the knight's charge, split the waves. Use the light to split the waves, huh? I hear you, Manager Bud. Let's do this. Damn.
이 검은, 이 명예는, 이 영광은
Oh my god.
빛바래지 않을 테니.
The incandescent, golden blades of light surge forth, cleaving through the darkness of the sea. The knight withstands the parry and parries each of those lights away, but he comes to a stop with the last of the golden radiance cuts across the sea, and looks in our direction as if to admire it. And finally, the lighthouse makes a low, resonant creaking noise before firing a bright light toward the ocean horizon. Mears has completed the repairs. Ooh, the light has returned to its house once more. Silence all! Mears is saying something. Like Oda said, Mears was peeking out of the window and shouting something. Vessel Massus is still near the shores, somewhere in the coastal sea. It moored somewhere by the beach, somewhere quite a bit distance away from the village coast. Confirmed. I'll radio Dr. Calcedo immediately. Phew, that's feeling good, but what about that monster? Yeah, what if it charges the lighthouse again and destroys it? I heard it talk during our battle, but I don't think that creature is capable of actually communicating with them. This will be a problem. Don Quixote, wait, don't get too close to it, it's dangerous. Before he could stop her, Don Quixote had already approached as close as she could to the seaboard, her eyes twinkling. She takes a brief moment to admire the knight and his steed, before asking in an energetic tone, "O mighty knight, what is the name of thy noble steed?" Rocinante. Wait, she can communicate with him? Ooh, it is quite the coincidence then. My noble steed is also named Rocinante. One who is not a comrade? They're a steed, you say? Forsooth, a steed most fine indeed. It has served me well over the countless adventures of mine, despite its appearance. Yet I must inquire thee, noble knight, wherefore dost thou strike this lighthouse so? Charmla. It was not the waves. The waves are darker, more raucous. Perchance there was a tad inconvenient misunderstanding here then. Good night. I and mine compatriots are now embarking upon an adventure most important. Yet, with thy obstruction, we are unable to do so. Prithee, wilt thou return to whence thou came? Don Quixote regarded the knight with a stance that was at once courteous and brave. The knight and his steed Rocinante stared wordlessly back at Don Quixote. I wasn't sure if she managed to get through to the knight or if the knight just lost interest, but they both departed the lighthouse, looking out to the far distance. So they really exist. Seaborns who hope for something other than just survival. Such powerful seaborns lurk at sea. Are you alright, Donkey? You should be thankful that somehow yielded a positive outcome. When are you going to fix that habit of rushing forward without thinking it through? Mine apologies. While Don Quixote returned the knight with that bizarre conversation, Amia raised her voice happily as though she just received good news. What? Dr. Calcita, is that true? What's going on? Doctors managed to infiltrate the vessel masses. We're already done cleaning up the decks, and now we're waiting for the rest of us to arrive. But it's been hardly 10 minutes since the lighthouse came on. The doctor's an excellent strategist. Based on what Dr. Calcita told us, they had already had some plans in motion before we activated the lighthouse. Great, let's return to Scotty and join them. Scotty listened to us quietly before replying in the same exact manner she did before. Someone's going to have to stay behind. I'll stay. Go find the vessel masses. You're going to refuse again if we offer help, aren't you? Yes. And I'll see you after we retrieve the vessel masses. I'll let the doctor know what happened here. What an oddball.
한자루는 죽었던 한자에 대한 축하를.
Jesus.
한자루.
I got carried by the
목숨에 묶여 살아갈 자.
actually insane what this unit just did for me right now.
장면 이상으로.
Sinking's definitely the way to go if you want to take this boss down easy. That's not even a joke. This is the doctor, researcher at Rhode Island. Nice to meet you. When I, after everything we went through, finally had the chance to meet the doctor of Rhode Island, I realized I had been building a vastly different image of him in my mind based on the name alone. I was thinking they were going to be someone like Yi Sang, Faust, or Hohenheim from LCE, but the first impression was similar to what I felt when I met a K-Corp employee. The clock just ticked. And this is Dante, a manager at Limbus company. That ticking just now was nice to meet you. Okay, thanks for accompanying Amia. Honestly, I was pretty worried when we were separated at the border. I should thank you and Amia actually. We would have been in a real pickle without her, so it's a bit embarrassing to repeat that myself. Dante says we would have been in a real pickle without Miss Amia. Sorry, Manager Bud can't talk human, so don't worry about it. We'll take over the translation. It is incorrect to state that the manager cannot talk human. A more accurate assessment would state that the manager is incapable of accessing sonic means of communication, which includes verbal communication. However, they are able to produce repetition of multiple sounds that may register on a similar scale to the ticking of multiple hands, second hands, minute hands of a clock. I don't know, something about the way Mersalt put it sounds worse. Don't worry, it's not a difficult task when only a single individual has to be translated. Doctor, let's move on to the next steps of the plan. Next steps? Thanks to Limbus Company's efforts, we obtained the exact coordinates of the vessel masses, and managed to capture the decks with ease. However, Fabius, who is suspected to be a bishop of the deep, and his followers have barricaded themselves inside the bridge's control room. While it may seem as though they're hiding, I believe they're trying to bait us. As in, they're waiting to enter the bridge before summoning reinforcements from elsewhere to trap us in a printer attack. Something like that. The elsewhere is most likely to be the sea, as our reinforcements are probably more sea terrors. Fabius is a seaborn, and the ocean will answer the call of their kind. Limbus Company and Irene We'll head to the bridge and neutralize Fabius. Amiya and I will accompany you to provide support and identify the situation within the bridge. In the meantime, Kaltstead and the other operators will remain on standby on the ship's exterior at the pre-designated locations. I'd like to avoid getting surrounded by sea turrets before we manage to take down the Church of the Deep within the bridge. I observed several entry points leading straight to the bridge while we were working on repairing the vessel. Your force doesn't seem numerous enough to close all of them. It's true that there are many entry points, but we don't need forces guarding every single one of them, especially here. The hallway is too narrow, long, and straight, so... Makes sense to me. How about here? Are you sure you're not overly focusing your forces to a single checkpoint? Let's see, but on closer look, looks like Commanding Officer Otis is finally in her environment. Got any questions, Manager Bud? I have no idea what they're talking about, if I'm being honest. Really? I saw you commanding the Sinners earlier. You seem pretty adept at giving orders and making strategic decisions. Indeed, they seem quite adept at making on-the-spot strategic commands and identifying exploitable weaknesses and patterns in their enemies. However, the Doctor and the Outsider are operating on fundamentally different fields. No further elaboration is necessary. Agreed. That particular aspect of strategizing is not one of Manager Dante's obligations. Even if there's a chance for them to engage in such elements, it may be too early to do so. Is that so? It is, at least what Paul says, Judge. What are they on about? I was about to ask that myself. I don't know. I have no idea. Having finished her discussion with the Doctor over the plan, Otis returned wearing a grim look. Huh? Is there something wrong with the plan? No, there wasn't anything wrong with the plan. I expected a certain degree of competency, but they were impressive, far beyond my expectations. Really? That good, huh? Even when I think back to my days in the line of duty, I can't think of too many like them. Right, so they're dependo. So, what, dependo? They're dependable, good enough for me. If your strategizing's done, let's get cracking. What of you, Miss Mayers? If it's too much to face what awaits, then you need not follow us. I decided to stay here anyway. The Doctor's going to update you in real time on where the safe zones are, so please keep that communicator girl so close with you. I will. Is there something you would like for us to do? It's nothing. If there's something you want to tell him, contact us through the communicator at any time. We're going to find a way to resolve this as peacefully as we can, if negotiations break down. Yeah, I know what you mean, Doctor. Be safe, everyone. The bridge was as gaudily decorated as ever. Fabius, flanked by the hooded followers and sea terrors, greeted us with a kindly smile. Welcome. I truly did appreciate thy kindness. Wherefore didst thou seek to harm us? Your suspicions are certainly justified, but I implore you to think back. If you truly believe we had sought to harm you then, how would you explain that one peaceful night you spent in Ferro Muerto? Aye, we have never wished you any harm. We did not then, we do not now. Not even a day after you folks stabbed us in the back like cowards, and you want us to believe that. Our wish has always been the same. We only wish to extend the freedom to roam the seas with those capable, kind-hearted souls. Mate, we know you're just trying to turn us into sea monsters of some kind. Monster is only a name. The essence of its being changes, not regardless of the label given to it. Become one with the sea, become one with the endless cycle of life, and one day, your misunderstandings will end, and you will come to understand us. Looks like this fight between us is going to be unavoidable. I put out the ID cards the moment I saw Fabius raising his hand. The Doctor seemed to have finished their preparations as well, as they and Amiya stood opposite Fabius. Incoming! Get ready, everyone! Let's stop them here for good, no matter how long it takes. Their strategic formation prioritized reducing sacrifices to the absolute minimum. Their command sought to protect, sought to defend. Forces were quick to follow them. Rhode Island's operation was certainly impressive, but that's not exactly our style. All I can do is put my faith in the Sinners and push them onward. Our style is... trust me to bring you back, no matter how many times they cut you down. Let's wipe them out. Dang.
囚人の皆さんの状態に何か変化が。
Okay, it's just spam time.
흑수미
시비수의
뒷박.
명 날개를 펼치고 발톱을 걸어 흐릿한 등화, 곱게 접은 종이에 번졌으니 식후의 하늘, 용이 되어 빈 벼로에 남았구나.
아득한 여정, 멈추지 않는 시대에서 희망과 미래를 찾아 스스로 답을 구하시길.
눈부시지 않다고 두려워하지 마.
엘리트 오페레
하나 넘고, 셋 넘고, 무수히 넘고, 얼마든지 꺾고 제쳐라. 뭐 혼자 불수라도 혈염도 바로
級大将お願いします
모았다.
囚人が退却できませんでした。あ、ダンテさんには囚人を蘇生できる能力がありましたよね。
날개를 펼치고 발톱을 걸어.
시도는 좋았어요. 무상한 목숨. 불끈한 지원일 뿐. 이 거리는 충분해. 너한텐 조금 멀겠지만. 이제 깨우치시길. 시도는 좋았어요.
지나온 길을 생각하면 이
It's just
또한
that easy. They're pretty persistent. Fabius flees again, using sea terrors as his followers as meat shields. Wait, no, I see it now. It's not Fabius who's putting them in harm's way to save himself. The sea terrors and cultists are throwing themselves in our way, entirely willing to sacrifice their lives to ensure Fabius gets away. But for all that, the only place left for him to flee on the ship, wounded and cornered by the sinner in Irene's lamplight, was the decks. Nowhere left to run, Fabius. I understand you can't help but continue to thrash and struggle to live, even knowing that there's no hope. But running will only make your pain worse. That's different. Baby didn't run to live. Mayors? Appearing quite different from how she did a moment ago. Yep. I told you your methods won't win their understanding, baby. What a shame. I thought those with such wisdom and aptitude would. I hope you would be able to realize your ideal here, even after I left. It will be realized. Fabius may die here, but we will remain. Now it is time. Devour me. Oh my god. Looks like they're about to give us a live demonstration of some gourmet art. It's a pretty common thing in the District 23 backstreets, but I'd rather not see it in person. Hey, I'm gonna look away, so that's okay, right? Just what? Doctor, weaker seaborns willingly let themselves be devoured by stronger ones, thereby sharing their experiences and nutrients with them. It's a commonly accepted practice among them. It is but a behavior that prioritizes survival above all else. This isn't done in any sense of sacrifice. Time is here. Devour me. Set sail toward your ideal. Sorry, baby. I've still got some canned food left for me on the ship, and I think I'll delay becoming a seaborn for a little while. Why? On the new destination, I'll get a new power from there and then become a seaborn. So now is not the time yet. If that is your will, oh Bishop. Don't worry, your flesh will fatten the bloodkin of the sea. Oh my god. So she was a bishop the whole time. Calcit, is she? Don't need to ask questions when the answer lies plainly before you, Doctor. What is happening? Where were the young mayors? It wasn't Fabius. Mayors was the Bishop of the Deep. They played us. Don't despair, we still have the upper hand. We defeated Fabius and his cultists already. Even if they were to summon more sea terrors, we would be able to handle them without much trouble. Hey, Aegir! Just what were you thinking this entire time you deceived us? I had a feeling I knew what she was going to say to that. She was going to say that it was for our sake, that it wasn't a deception at all. Or maybe she'll give us one final gloating. But her reply, the words which were carefully selected after gazing out far at the ocean, was not what any of us could have expected. I'm sorry. Thought this would be the better way to approach you, but I see how it can come across as nothing more than deception. You're sorry? Why? Dante wants to know why you're sorry. Oh, well, that's because I did something wrong. Wait, hold on. You've been deceiving us all along, and now you're gonna... Oi, what exactly are you after? You're after the same thing that User was, ain't that right? Turn us into your bloodkins, that it was all for our sake, giving all kinds of ridiculous excuses to turn us into one of those monsters. I hope that one day you would all accept becoming Seaborns, but I'm not about to demand you let yourselves be transformed today, right here and now. I understand we all need some time to mentally prepare ourselves. May I understand your statement to be implying that you will not be forcing this upon us, should we refuse? That's correct. It'd be against manners to do so. Shoving TC cells inside your body out of nowhere. Manners, huh? Yeah? What was your actual relationship to Fabius anyway? This is someone who once strove to realize the visions of our ideal worlds. Our goals once converged, but not now. I was pretty taken aback too when they attacked you back at the village. He got greedy when he saw Faust and Otis repairing the ship. He got greedy? Pairs believe that welcoming capable people as Bloodkin would expedite Seaborn's evolution. Cool. So, you're like some cult leader, and you don't necessarily want to antagonize us. You still haven't told us what you're after, though. I'm going to the city that lies beyond the dimensional door. So, you're trying to flee to a different world, where the Inquisition won't be able to chase you? This isn't running away. I just want to help the people of the city, that's all. So, I'm bringing Seaborns with me to the city. Don't tell me you're going to invade the city alongside those monsters then? Oh my god. Automated sailing program. Vessel masses will now sail toward the dimensional door. I'll let Rhode Island and Irene go right in front of the door, so don't worry. Did you seriously just tell us not to worry? Faust, please calm yourself. It's not been determined if that is indeed the dimensional door connecting directly back to the city. No, it has to be. The warm shining light, and the voice from within is getting clearer and clearer. Why don't we just let them into the city? The battle thus far has done well enough to demonstrate the level of danger Seaborns pose. However, I doubt they'll get very far even if they were to enter the city. Don't you agree? In Hong Yuan, we've all seen what happens when sentient non-human entities enter the city. The head will take action the moment they realize their presence. Of course, we must prepare ourselves for repercussions in case they decide to hold Limbus Company responsible once the dust settles. Yet, it's also very likely that we will fully escape any culpability, as we saw in the memories of the Kong massacre. Your thoughts, Faust? Urban Nightmare, however, considering their specific attributes, it would not take long for them to rise to a Star City level threat. There's a reasonable possibility they may issue the Imperitas Civitatis. What? Is that not an acceptable risk? If not the head, they should be manageable by your wing. This isn't that terrible of a calamity. No. Your technology seems to be based on something else, which is neither Originium or any of its derived technology. That's precisely what could make your world vulnerable against Seaborns. Is it because they learn fast? Yes. Those on the front lines of the war stubbornly stick to using traditional low-tech weapons. Deploying high-technology weapons is only going to make you an enticing meal. Can't we just let whichever unfortunate wing that ends up fighting these? do take into account that it may take a significant amount of time to earn their trust, even if they were to be convinced. There would be other parties with alternative perspectives on the matter, complicating issues. The situation will rapidly grow out of control if backstreet syndicates or fixers got involved, unless the head designates a taboo to prevent it. Even then, considering what she has been saying, yes, we must consider the possibility that they may be capable of absorbing the head's technology. Oh my god. How do you plan on helping the people of the city? By giving them a chance to become Seaborns. What are you on about? Become Seaborns? She ain't all there either, eh? What kind of help is that? Mirrors, you know, that's no different from what the Church of the Deep is doing here. No, it is different. Because someone showered the city with the light. The light? The beam of light from the White Nights and Dark Days incidents. How do you... Could it be? Becoming Seaborn is to become a part of the great will we called we many. By doing so, one can be reborn as an altruistic life form, but at the cost of ego, the sense of self. That has always been my issue with it. Everyone has beliefs of their own, dreams of their own. It feels too empty to lose all of that when they inevitably lose their sense of self as they become Seaborns. Look, I want each Seaborn to have their own wishes. But the light shining through the dimensional door to our world is too faint to push them up toward that evolution. If only the light of the city could become more tangible, it might just be able to give every Seaborn an identity of their own, to remain uniquely themselves. Then why is it that you advocate toward those of the city to join the Seaborns, when one could simply learn more of the light before returning here? At first, I thought all I needed was a clue to a better evolution, but Don Quixote's tales of adventures changed my mind. Mine adventures? You don't understand just how precarious you all are. And how would you? You were born into that kind of world from the very start. A place where life has become a commodity and gold one of its few religions. The city has abandoned its yesterdays to survive today, and by doing so, has given up on its tomorrows. Just as I needed the light, the city needs Seaborns. It needs their tenacious hold to life, their absolute unconditional selflessness. But at the end of the day, it still means everyone has to turn into monsters. People ostracize the other. Something that isn't like me, something that feels alien to me, something I don't know or understand. So that fear is natural, because Seaborns are not human. But you just have to cross that threshold once. Miss Maris, do you believe the nature of humanity to be evil? Humans are selfish. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Good things can come from selfishness, that's for sure. But the side effects have become simply unsustainable. Doctor, you've been to countless battlefields where Rhode Island has fought tooth and nail for the rights of the infected. But what came of it? Peace? No, it's the same. But still, we're all still getting better, little by little. I'm not trying to deride those small incremental steps and call them meaningless. Change takes time, and should it continue, I believe your efforts can be a beacon of light that will lead humanity toward a brighter future. But what about everyone who has sacrificed while you're taking your time, taking those incremental steps? Every single day of that incremental change is marred by unjust deaths. Some are enslaved for no other reason than their indifferences. People live in on that despair. What? People live on in that despair that seems to have no end. I agree with what the light told me. People are diseased. They're so sick that even in the far-flung future, even on the day the world ends, they will continue to fail to look forward, obsessed with scrutinizing each other in search of those differences. Even when every egg-ear returns to sea, they're still going to bully and hate everyone with pointed ears, labeling them egg-ears. Even when erypathy is truly eradicated, people are going to suspect and persecute someone as the infected. People are imperfect beings. You're right, there probably isn't anyone out there who can really sacrifice themselves for the sake of others with nothing but perfect selflessness. But not when it comes to Seaborns. They don't suffer from all this absurdity, nor are they coerced to sacrifice against their will. They have the power to progress toward a better future, built from mutual understanding. Because they're the kind of life form that seeks common ground instead of scrutinizing for differences. The bells. Oh my god. Is it possible she had already met the conditions to effloresce? A possible explanation be the absence of the particular pull required to draw it out of her, or the insufficiency of it. This isn't anything like the arts. She's getting an ego? What the fuck? Precisely. Connection to pulse returning to normal levels seems to indicate that. Can people in other worlds, I mean mayors, also manifest ego? Internal conflict and anguish is a commonality among every intelligent entity, regardless of whether they are from the city or not. Therefore, yes, it is positive. However, the potential to effloresce an ego implies potential to distort as well. You've been dreaming for a long time, Mares, drawing your own picture of an idealized world. And you have chosen the ocean as a means to building a path toward that vision. Yet, why have you failed to take a leap of faith yourself? I had to make preparations. Seaborns are beautiful, there's no doubt about it. It's just that a key piece was missing to really achieve what I want. You're not being honest with yourself. I know it very well you are afraid of becoming one of them. The fear that your own creed might crumble, that you might lose your own sense of self, your ego. The fear that you might end up becoming nothing more than just another thing swept up by the ineffably overwhelming will. Isn't it terrifying that this hope can just disappear in a blink? Who is she talking to? Is this something Limbus Company has experience with? If so, I'd appreciate an explanation. She's hearing that voice. When that singular faith that one had absolute confidence in breaks in one fell swoop, and their ironclad will is shattered, people of the city have the potential to distort into a monstrous form at any time. It's said that these phenomena are often accompanied by the distorting individual hearing a disembodied voice. Indeed, those who distort would often behave as though they were engaged in conversation. Of course, the same could be said for those who awaken ego. At first, I thought it was Kathy, but it wasn't her. The voice was beautiful, comforting, and even cozy. The kind of voice that puts all deep contemplation to sleep, so calm and warm. No, there is more to the sunshine than its warmth. The sunshine? You don't share your interests with other devotees. Survival isn't what you care about. What you really care about is giving everyone a chance to experience what it feels like to live in a world of warmth. Ephemeral it may be. Right, we have to be about more than just prolonging our existences. What really matters isn't survival, it's what we leave behind for posterity, our legacy. As long as there's a guarantee that the light can indeed protect a sense of self, it'll be more than enough to convince people to become seaborns. Please, you don't have to concern yourself with what other people might think, Mayors. But everyone has their own wishes. You can't just bulldoze over theirs to force mine upon them. But that's not what you really believe, is it? You know that better than anyone. While you hesitate, countless people who are bound to the inescapable bridle will continue to suffer. That might be true, but it's okay. You don't have to hide the shape of your heart. Its colors. The only thing you have to concern yourself is how you can lead the people of the city, and then Terra. Okay, we can't just sit here and let this happen. Operators to positions. Operator is unable to approach. She's surrounded by a strange field, Doctor. Whenever someone would distort due to reasons other than the monolith, a strange pressure would prevent our approach, as though to stop us from interfering. Looks like that applies here too. All the way in another world. Love is our collective destination after all. So, please, let go of this tool that might break your heart. Don't force yourself to walk the path of thorns. Your pilgrimage needn't be that of suffering. No, You don't believe in any recourse, do you? Other than this, anyway. Don't you think we should find a better, faster path, with less suffering, before more people inevitably hurt each other with their ill intent? You're right. There is no recourse. It's happened faster. Can't waste any more time while people suffer. Follow your wishes. Follow your desires. And paint. Let's show them the painting of your world reflected in your eyes. Before the compassion they believe in becomes completely worthless. The yearning flotsam. I understand the shape of your heart and what makes you want to enter the city. But we still know so little about the Seaborns, about Terra, about Iberia. Whatever may have lit the fire under your feet. I can't bring you with us to the city as you are now. But I must, Dante. Your adventures were full of exhilarating tales, and I saw kindness in every word and action of you and your friends, but that's not enough. You don't think they'll change? No, they will. In the far, far future. Oh my god. Portal, where did it come from? Dungeon of the Fathoms. A gate that leads to one's heart. This periphery is where LCB's department's specialty begins. While what lies beyond this periphery does not necessarily warrant Rhode Island's presence. Can you guys help? I don't know what kind of fathoms I'm walking into, but I have a feeling we're going to need your assistance. Dr. Calson. We're only here to investigate the dimensional door, but I don't want to turn our backs on people we can help. Rhode Island accepts Limbus Company's cooperation request. I'll go too. You're still in Iberia. Can't let Iberian business be handled solely by outsiders, let alone an incident connected to the Church of the Deep. Don't worry, it's not like this is the first time we're letting someone in our group into a dungeon of the Fathoms. We'll be fine. We're sea terrors. Given the circumstances, it seems very likely sea terrors that were swarming the lighthouse are coming this way as well. I'll call Scotty here. You'll be staying behind then. Amir will go with you too, Doctor. Following Mayors, who had already disappeared into the portal, we take our steps into the utopian world beyond. News of the wars getting grimmer by the day. The sea terrors are coming, swarming. This is the day when the ocean-born calamity broke and sunk, Aegir's seemingly infinite starward growth. Aren't you going to the surface, Mayors? More and more people have been getting too anxious to stay in Aegir. I'm not. If Aegir falls, it only means the surface is soon to follow. Why? Think you'll need to head to the surface too? I'm thinking about it. While there weren't that many, people around me began to leave the surface. I considered some of them to be close acquaintances. Y'all tried to convince me to leave with them. But fleeing my home in favor of the land didn't feel right. The foretold calamity descended, and dealt a heavy blow to Aegir, but the surface suffered much worse. I had to help them. How could I not after hearing such a terrible thing happened? I think I'll head to the surface. Seriously? The surface? Think hard about it before you go. If you leave now, coming back might no longer be an option. Every day must be a struggle for them. At least, I don't have to fear for the immediate tomorrow. So it's my responsibility to provide help, as someone who's better off than them, even by a little. I know, but if I don't go to the help, things only get much more dangerous for the land dwellers. Maybe that danger is the very thing that'll hurt you. I still think I have to help them. I procured myself an Aegirian research vessel at a cheap price to bring me to land. Unable to even submerge itself without moving, this wasn't exactly the best ship out there, and I normally wouldn't have given it a second look. But I thought it would at least help me navigate the coastal sea. I didn't expect this. The very first thing I witnessed was the bottomless hostility against the Aegir. They denied my and Aegir's offer for help for the sole reason that I came from the sea. They denied my compassion, my research. Get lost! We don't need your stupid research. You're from the same place as that calamity, aren't you? You think we're so stupid that we trust you? Confiscated my catalyst and tore my research apart. My wish to stand with them against the calamity was devoured by the hatred born of the same calamity. Any kindness, any compassion I gave them was repaid twofold in hatred and suspicion. Did the terrible conditions of this land transform them into monsters, or was this always their nature? It wasn't long before the research vessel I brought was confiscated out of suspicion. A few weeks later, I finally came across that vessel by the beach. It was an uncanny name inscribed in its side, Rebellion de las Masas. But none of that was enough to stop me from continuing my research for the sake of land dwellers. I went through so many trial and error to somehow impede the sea terror's rapid evolution, to revive the Iberian soil contaminated by the Nether Sea brand. But my work bore barely any fruit, and I let the days float by as I watched the Inquisition arrest the Aegir one by one. My sea terror samples and research notes came into view. They all look completely different from one another, some of them with fundamentally different physiologies. Even still, nothing stopped them from being us instead of I. and for the first time, I became doubtful of my efforts to interrupt their evolution. Materials were not entirely fabrication. Mary's is the bishop of the Church is a deep, so that automatically makes her a sinner in the eyes of the Inquisition, regardless of her reasons. The more I studied them, the more I found them to be such compassionate, altruistic creatures. All they cared about was their survival, not even a hint of selfishness. They're not some evil monsters from the sea. Maris, I can see that seaborns may not be evil, but it doesn't matter what they are. They're kindly life forms, or whether they are simply a different form of civilization, it doesn't matter. Because Iberia and her Inquisition does not define seaborns as evil. Seaborns are our enemy, threats to human existence. I have but one thing to say as an Inquisitor. You, all of you, are my enemy. But it would be a good thing for the Inquisition if I were to leave for the city, wouldn't it? Why would you say that it's a good thing for us to toss our problem to another world? That'll be like abandoning our pride. Let's say, the people of the city give you permission, and as an Inquisitor, I can't let you do that. Yeah, don't get your hopes up about that either. You can wrap it in a box that says compassion all you want, but Mayors, your course isn't exactly the direction I'd like to sail in. You are not my compass, for real. As the rest of the sinners prepare for battle, Mayors mutters with genuine disappointment. I didn't want to have to do this. Waves. I had no better word to describe the horde of sea terrors crashing into us. But this is the only way it could have ended. Your words are composed entirely of your own color and no one else's. Manager Dante, right? You speak. We will hold the line and defend this place. So, in the meantime, could you take down Mayors and deal with the remaining sea terrors? Absolutely. The manager has responded affirmatively. All operators will be drawing the sea terrors to us. We don't need to take them all down. We just need to act as a wall between the wave and the people of Limbus. Irene, I would like to ask for your help as well. As for Amia, please assist Limbus. Okay, then let the mission begin. How long? That's not too bad. They don't have like a tower defense thing, right? That'd be crazy.
필두며 뒷받질 중.
넌 푸름을 틔울 수도 없겠구나.
Okay. Mayor's despair. The repulsiveness of people's ill intent. And the faint hope from the light found within. All kinds of emotions and memories rise to the surface of Amia's fathoms and sink again. Those same thoughts seep into me as well, unfiltered. The sins that people have committed won't just go away. Humanity's ill intent will propagate unimpeded too. The tides that Miss Mayors is trying to summon to douse it will devour humanity, the civilization, and the city they came from. So, I don't think that's the right way to go. Not as long as Dante and the people of Limbus Company refuse. This isn't like the time I retrieved the ego. In place of the light, a speck of darkness casts a shadow. Reach out into the darkness. Strange power courses through me before radiating toward the center. Emotional connection, okay.
囚人の皆さんの状態に何か変化が。
Ooh, you get more ego sources. Cool. Unclashable? Awesome. I love unclashable attacks.
헤어내리.
시비수에게 명한다. 이 앞에 숨쉬는 자 누구 하나 사이에 보내지 마라.
끊기.
This music is fucking insane. And the background is fucking sick too, holy shit. Okay, Abyssal Vitality.
敵が来ます。皆さん、戦闘の準備を。
Okay. Oh my god. Okay, so you want to be killing these things. Okay, okay. Okay, I had to kill this fucking spear, bro. I hate this thing. It buffs. Apply defense, okay, yeah, no. That. This music is actually insane.
불가.
깔끔하게 몰았군.
敵は深手を負っています。
Okay, indiscriminate. Okay, so I need to win this. Like that.
위야. 막아내지 못하리.
토끼를 보았다.
Holy hell.
저 해. 동이 될 때까지 적을
囚人が退却でき
너의
ませんでした
쓸모를 보여라.
ダンテさんには囚人を蘇生できる能力がありましたよね。
헤어내리. 지금은 좋았어요.
This is new? Oh. Oh my god, that's fucking sick, dude. What the fuck? You've aged a lot since the last time we met, Fabi. Is it a characteristic of your sub-race? You haven't aged a day. So, what brings you to the Church of the Deep? Seaborns are indispensable and are preparation for the impending doom. Nothing, I mean nothing else can ensure the survival of humanity. Thus, it would only be right for me to join hands with those who are able and willing to become Seaborns, to search for a way to prolong our existences. You're looking to use the knowledge of the wise and the talented as nourishment for Seaborns. But that won't do anything more than prolong our existences. Is survival alone not enough? I thought a bishop of the church would share a majority of that belief with me. Baby, you and I both put our faith in the Seaborns, but the word faith might mean something different for you than it does for me. Seaborns shouldn't be our object of worship. We have to stand on equal ground as them and set our eyes on their natures. Please, step aside. Desperation, sadness, sympathy. Mayor's emotions gush forward, carried by bubbles. Terra, a land in which the hatred for the difference has entrenched itself. The city, a place in which people, crushed by the trials of life, have surrendered to its absurdities. They both need the Seaborns, perfected beneath the light. That is but your wish, Miss Mayers. Faust does not believe them to be necessary elements for the city. Even in the city, there are people who are searching for reasons to live on, dreaming of a better world. We all know that it can't possibly be easy to change, but there has to be some kind of worth and value in that process alone, in the lives we lead within the city. What worth could there be to a life of the unkind? The kind of life humanity is doomed to exist in, and all we ever do is hurt and hate one another. Listen, efficient order, natural altruism, they're both virtues humanity should never lose sight of. But there's no such thing as absolutes when it comes to the value of life. Survival is the right of all civilization, which means that it should never be up to others to define the worth of life, to argue for it. But what if there's no other way? Can you even understand what I'm saying? Some time has passed since I made Faro Muerto my home. Unlike my prediction, the Seaborn's evolution seemed to have lost its explosive progress, and Fabius seemed to be content in just observing their slow development. Maybe it's because they're directionless, without a specific wish. Even still, Seaborns were the key to changing terror of the land. To stand against the incoming calamity, we needed their survivability and adaptability. And the humanity that has turned exhaustion into ill intent needed the Seaborn's blind, selfless altruism toward their own. So, while I never stopped my studies, something small but sharp continued to stab at my frustrated heart. Stultified and unable to be resolved. If we were to lose even our sense of selves and creed, assimilated into this stagnated great will, for the sake of survival, civilization had to be no more. For the sake of us, I had to be no more. The realization of that paradox made the first crack in my confidence that Seaburns were the answer to the problem Iberia, the land, and humanity faced. And through the cracks, the seeds of doubt were sown. But I'd already come too far to find a path more beautiful than the Seaborns. No more wasting time with these stupid ruminations. There has to be a way, some kind of conditions Seaborns need to fulfill to retain their sense of selves, to retain their individual hopes and wishes. I stood adrift atop the inundation of years I dedicated to this purpose, holding on to this precious hope, and steeled my shaking heart. And that was the easy part. There are no better solutions. Don't look away from the answer that lies right in front of me. All I need to do is find a way for Seaborns to hope and wish, to have them each carry a sense of self. I just had to repeat that to myself like a mantra, again and again. But my drifting days came to an end when I found a new path, illuminated by the strange light from across the sea. On that day, yes, the day when that faint blue light shone, a whisper visited me. Who's there? Whose voice is... What? The answer, sought through the eons by people I didn't recognize, played over and over in my ears. The voice that spoke, it was muffled but warm and beautiful. The light of the city, the hearts that were lost, the emotions that were forgotten, the sense of self that... No, that's enough of that, but I'd like to hear more about the light that has sprouted from the 10 virtues. And the image those words drew in my mind was clearer and more beautiful than ever. Terra, the city, both failed to find a way out of this bridle. If they're going to be satisfied with living as they are, then you can't change what you can't see by standing still. Wait, what? You can't change what you see by standing still. If you want to bring about a better world, then even if you may be lost in the ideals, you have to keep walking. Survival, worth of life. As I've never been too certain about either of those complicated ideas, I had no unflinching creed with which to convince her. That's not to say the city has no need of altruistic nature Mayors was wants to bring there. That's not to say I have a better answer than the combination of Seaborns and the light. Even still, the emotions, the regrets, conversations I found and collected over this journey alongside the sinners became my answer, and I tick on. Honestly, I don't really know the city all that well either. My memory only goes back a year. For what is practically my entire existence, I've been surrounded by the sinners in our adventure. Still, we want to keep trying. You're right, the city is an absurd, vicious place. Something new and horrible surprises me every other day, but... Mares, that light you spoke of, I don't think that's what protects the ego, the sense of self. To protect it, you have to first look unflinchingly both ways. The path that lies ahead and the one you walked. Then you confront them both. It can't be right. The light, it has to. You're just working based on what you heard about the city and the light, ain't that right? How can you be so confident that the light'll protect the Seaborn sense of selves? Ain't that just what you want to believe? I think it's a distinct possibility. Even if the light can do what you hope it does, Mayors, it won't change anything. Turning our nature's kind by transforming us into Seaborns, a convenient method like that isn't our path. Because the sense of self protected like that, kind nature attained like that, wouldn't be our own. It'd be yours, Mayors. Protecting your own sense of self while being compassionate and kind, it's a path of unbearable suffering. We might fail some days, despite our best efforts. Some days we'll be forced to confront the sins of our past and suffer. Verily, not one of us now may see the culmination of that path. Yet, I can hardly find it within myself to simply leave it in thy hands without so much as trying. You're saying that Seaboards can't be the answer I've always sought? It doesn't make sense if you think about it, Mayors. Those sea monsters don't even know what self means. That's why they show no hesitation before sacrifice. If you were to introduce a sense of self to those sea monsters, that selflessness you want will be no more. She's a Seaborn shaped distortion, who is not a Seaborn, and innocently anguished contemplating distortion. If Mary's wish is to achieve an altruistic world, then her desire has to be that she doesn't want her efforts to become meaningless. Seaborns may be the perfect answer for some people. A recent example, Fabius. It seemed clear to me that was precisely his wish. But this doesn't seem to align with yours. Find a new answer, Miss Mayors. You're telling me I have to go back to wandering for so much time again in search of a new answer? You won't be alone on that path. Walk it together, relying on one another. And it won't feel as long. Trying to carry such a heavy burden all by yourself, Miss Mayors, it's such a prideful thing to do.
タンテさん、なんだかただならぬ気配を
행색이
感じます。
이상하나. 그럼에도 이상이여. 내가 맞서.
Right,
아시의 이상을 함께 줬던
yeah.
이상이여.
Let's not do that. Huh. Okay, let's win that one. It's been 40, right? 31? So annoying. Targets randomly. It's not worth it yet. Oh my god, I'm just gonna ego spam. Fuck it. That isn't good enough. This is good enough. Not, it's because I'm gonna... Shit. Because Honglu just had to be staggered, I guess. Fuck it, we win these clashes, I don't care. Allegedly.
불가 위약 막아내지 못하리.
Also, she doesn't have Tin Protection anymore, so this is the actual battle.
시대에서 희망과 미래를 찾아 스스로 답을 구하시게. 한눈 팔지 마세요. 메마른 당신에게 파도는 반드시 밀려올 테니.
Ouch. tides carry away the windows to Mayor's Pass, soon devouring them beyond vision. It's almost as if Mayor is in the dungeon of the fathoms. No, the ocean itself is fusing into one. The majority of distortions encountered by the bus team have assumed a form generally recognized as an organic entity. However, there is nothing preventing a distortion's form from breaking that ordinary boundary and taking a different shape, as it may vary by the individual's desires. If a distortion is allowed to exacerbate undeterred, it may eventually corrode this very space in which we stand. As we were taking some time to catch our breaths, a few small machines tumbled to the ground, shot from one of the trembling fathoms. It must be one of those mysterious machines in Mira's home we saw. Whatever. We saw that there were various apparatuses attached to the sockets on their sides. Expensive they appear, yet how numerous they are. Well, you know, maybe she's similar to one of those fixer fellows who are always hellbent on picking up every new cutting-edge workshop tech. Huh, it says Little Handy down here. This is oddly similar structure to the Hand of the Saint the Inquisitor brought. Then shall this fantastically wonderful machine be of assistance in our battles? Rhode Island already seems to have their hands full holding the line. And we should probably just take one and leave the rest out. To leave the rest and help them out. After a quick discussions with the sinners, we decided to take just one of the machines. Okay, max HP and healing boost. Sinclair died. I want healing. I don't understand how it works, but it sure sounds helpful.
敵が優勢です。状況を今一度把握し直さなければ。
Hopeless? Are we serious? Well, it says hopeless, but we all know it's not. That's what I would like to say. $25 is such a big number, dude. Holy hell. I don't want to ego spam, but I'm literally gonna have to. He's at 40, so I can finally use him.
일기당천.
토끼를 보았다. 저 해충들을 도려내라. 묘여, 길을 열어라.
틈을 끊어. 바로 이.
Ouch. Oh, you hate to see that.
무슨 술술해? 자! 숨통 끊기. 진짜 즐거운 시간이었는데.
And somehow he's saying,
이상이 무엇이라 생각하시오?
damn, I don't get to use my. I built all that up for what? I didn't even get to see it.
거긴 오는구만.
상념으로 맑은 하늘 가리고 이 한 몸 바쳐 땅으로 모든 피 쏟아내리리.
Damn, that's not bad damage.
피가 아무리 탁해졌다 한들 군주는 죽지 않. 적을
囚人が退却でき
너의
ませんでした
쓸모를 보여.
Oh,
ダンテさんには囚人を蘇生できる能力がありましたよね。
it's favored. And then there's winning. This is what I want to do. not that one. I'll tell you that much for free. Ugh. Things are looking so down bad right now.
불가 위야.
이 거리는 충분해. 너한텐 조금 멀겠지만.
친 목을 떨궈주마.
That fucking barrier is finally gone. Thank God.
아득한 여정. 멈추지 않는 시대에서 희망과 미래를 찾아 스스로 답을 구하시길.
한 점만 노린다.
림버스 컴퍼니
This is it.
皆さん、この勢いに乗って勝ちに行きましょう。
That's not gonna do any damage, bro. Come on.
목을 콱 물어버리자고. 이미 정해진 이야기를 따라 이치에 맞게 사로잡히시길.
흐릿한 등화, 곱게 접은 종이에 번졌으니 19의 하늘, 용이 되어 빈 벼루에 남았구나.
That's it. I think this is over. That's what I would like to say. Come on, look it. Yeah, this is it, bro. There's no way you don't do 100.
어머,
놀라 팬tum 투성이네.
Oh, I was about to say, what are you attacking, bro? There you have it. Man, okay, that was long. It's true that people scrutinize others for differences to find something they can hate. But it's also true that it is often those very differences that people look up to. And admiration usually goes hand in hand with overestimation. Yes, and Miss Mayers admires those two unknowns, Seaborns and the like. She thought they would be the solution to everything. Mayers, do you still want to go to the city? No. I'll remain here in Terra. I'll broaden my studies and I'll talk more to find a new path toward realizing my wish. As for what will happen now, Miss Mayers, we're going to need to have a long talk with the Inquisition, but we'll help too. We'll help you in search for that path if we can. The great arc built from the city crumbles. Light fades and gives way to shadows. We found ourselves back aboard the vessel Massus. Battle complete. Vessel Massus slowing down. How's Miss Mayers? Here, unconscious. The mental strain seems to have taken its toll. It all happened inside the dungeon of the Fathoms, but it can't have been too easy on her mind to send so many waves after us. What'll happen to Miss Mayers now? First, we'll wait for the Inquisition's ruling, then bring her to Rhode Island. Her efforts were misguided, but she also had Terra's best interest at heart. Together, I'm sure we can find a better way forward. What if she's sentenced to death? Then we will need to offer a different proposal, and consider it when we get to it, Doctor. It's finally over. All we have left to do is to go back, as we were preparing to leave with our hearts much lighter than they were earlier. Hold on, everyone. Something's rapidly approaching us. Oh my god. Where'd this shade come from? Wait, is that... Almost as if driven by instinct, Ishmael takes a radio from Gregor. Something must have clicked in Otis's head. She also turned and ran after Ishmael. Those two are running into the bridge. Brace, grab onto something! Oh bollocks, mucking up right before the finish line. Doctor, Dante has advised we grab onto something. I see, they're preparing to turn the ship around. Everyone, brace for impact, stay alert, something's coming. Oh my god. seaborn about the size of, no, slightly larger than the vessel masses. Amiya's communicator buzzes with Ishmael's voice. The currents are going wild. Wait, no, something causing these currents to go wild. We'll try our best to maintain evasive We'll try our best to maintain evasive maneuvers for as long as possible, but we can't do this forever. If the situation does not improve, we may have to take the vessel masses to cross the dimensional door. Does Rhode Island have a way out of this quandary? Not at this moment, but we have to come up with one now, and fast. Dante, does anything come to mind? We should first figure out why that seaborn's coming after us. Copy that. I'll focus on steering the ship, so keep us updated. It's almost like it's obsessed with this ship. Just why could it possibly be coming after a ship all of a sudden? Could it be Fabius's order? It's coming after me. Scotty, you? Yes, I'm their enemy, an abyssal hunter. Oh my god. What are the abyssal hunters, and why are they so gung-ho about trying to kill you? Abyssal hunters are those who hunt sea terrors and seaborns. Of course, this isn't based on any emotion, such as vengeance or resentment. Scotty's... well, it's not important right now. What matters is that they're solely targeting Scotty. Operators of Rhode Island are heavily fatigued at this moment, and their long defense against the waves in the Dungeons of Fathoms. The same could be said of us and Miss Amiya, who battled mayors in the meantime. To engage that seaborn in this particular circumstances. Oh? Something shakes the vessel masses once again. What's this now? There's more? There are indeed multiple entities surrounding our ship, however. Oh my god. We're lucky. Or was it simply how it was supposed to go? Sharmla! The knight! 2 seaborns. It's going to be fine, Miss Inquisitor. If he's the same knight we fought earlier, I doubt he'll be able to stop us from charging at a giant sea monster. Oh my god. If we can help the knight repel that seaborn, we might just have a shot at sending Limbus Company back through the dimensional door and escaping aboard the vessel masses ourselves. Can everyone still move? I'm almost at my limit, but I can still move. I've got a plan. I'd like for everyone to trust me on this. Things weren't so bad outside after you'd entered the portal. Now's the time for the hunter to get to work. Oh my god. The operators scatter their appropriate positions, as commanded by the doctor. Ishmael and Otis have been exited the decks as well, presumably having found someone to steer the ship. Is it okay to have you two out here? This is Calcit. This Calcit seemed to know enough about seafaring to take over. While the crisis was far from over, she was good enough that it was reasonable for us to leave the ship steering to her and descend the decks for our return. It doesn't seem like we'll be able to bid you goodbye. Are you sure you're going to be okay? We can stay a little longer and help. I appreciate the sentiment, I really do, but... oh my god, it's closing. You don't have much time. There's a precious little we could learn about it now. It's obvious our time here is coming to an end. Thanks, Amiya. We would have been lost for a while in this world if it weren't for Rhode Island's help. Well, thanks to you, we should be able to sufficiently study the dimensional door before we return. Time to say goodbye to the Iberian sea breeze, I guess. Do you have any idea how big the pile of paperwork is going to be at the Inquisition? Rhoda, try not to drop into Iberia next time, you got that? Sure, let's all stay nicely put in our own worlds. As the great seaborn briefly falters at the combined might of Scotty and the knight. The ship's bow managed to stop inches from the dimensional door. Manager, now's your chance to get into the dimensional door. Someday, I hope we can meet again. We shall take our leave. Let's return to the city. Oh my god. Swept away by the tides of consciousness. The river draws out my memories and consciousness, sublimating them away. Then... ah, back at Hangyuan. Where is this? Yi Hangyuan? I look around and see the sinners strewn about the room, dozing off. Ugh. I see Heathcliff crash like that all the time, but how did everyone crash at the same time, sleeping against the walls? Bizarre sensation that something was truly amiss crawls up my spine. You have come too. Now that you have come too, I request that you continue your rest in your chamber. Your presence here makes it difficult to conduct cleaning activities in the areas adjacent to your body. Huh? What? We just came through the dimensional door after Rhode Island. We were transferred here after the LCCA discovered your company unconscious at the entrance of a lobotomy court branch. I feel like I just went through a memorable experience, but I can't recall what. There was a hole in my memory, and a strange emotional tug at my heart. An ego I don't ever recall extracting. A hole in Dante's memory? After the memory erasing thing? After Heathcliff? Now that doesn't make sense. It's the manager's role to remember, guys. Come on. Rocinante, really avail me but 5 more minutes of scheduling wooden training dummies to wake you up in 5 minutes. But the bizarre sensation naturally settles. What was that abnormality? What just happened? I don't have any answers to either of those questions, but... Wait, where's Saud? She said something about how there's been a delay or something. I couldn't find Saud, who'd been bringing us odd jobs here and there during our stay, anywhere in Yihang Yuan. But on the desk I did find a note filled with various requests and a letter, both presumably left behind by Saud. We've got a distortion contract. Come on, time to earn your keep. You aren't going to lounge around until we've got a message from HQ, right? Are they allergic to giving us time off or something? In that brief moment, a certain voice briefly surfaces from the abyss of my memories before sinking again. There's no such thing as absolutes when it comes to the value of life, which means that it should never be up to others to define what the worth of life is, to argue for it. The worth of life. I don't quite recall who said that, or even where I heard it from. Honestly, I don't understand what it means. You can't change what you see by standing still. If you want to bring about a better world, then even if you may be lost in the ideals, even still, some of those words left a lingering impression on my heart. You have to keep walking. Unable to sit still, I got up from my seat and began waking up the sinners. Yeah, it's not like we're getting anything done here. On your feet, guys, time to get to work. The sinners began waking up, some of them looking to get their bearings, like they were pulled out of a long dream. Damn. Oh my god, that was sick. That was a sick Intervallo, bro. Honestly, I think that's the best one so far,
길을 남겼군.
as expected.
핏물진 길일
1/4
뿐이지만
of all the damage done.
세월이 지나면 홍우는 그제야 알게 되겠지.
And there you have it.
이
Okay,
홍우가
yeah,
무엇을 바꾸었는지를.
I guess that's it for now. I'll... okay, it counts as doing all these too, okay. Alright guys, I guess I'll catch you next time. This was I think I ranked this one as my favorite so far. Even though I know nothing about Arknights, let it be known. Still the best one yet though. Yeah, I guess that's it for now. See ya till next time. Bye bye. I didn't think I'd have to deal with anything remotely like this outside in the Great Lake. Outside the Great... You can say that again. I would have taken us the whole... Man, I don't like they're gonna trust us any... I don't think... I think I could really do with some unsensitive... All this looks and acts like... Thou shalt no go further. I, a fixture of justice, shan't abide by as thou... What? Technology is based on